welcome to episode 18 of the JurassicWorld.org podcast. As always, I'm joined with Chris and Asees.
Hello!
Hey! So enthusiastic.
This is post Jurassic World. We've all now seen Jurassic World, and obviously, just before we dive into how crazy we all are, Jurassic fan gear and famous IDs, check them out. JW.org coupon code. Check them out in the sidebar of our website. It is currently June 16th when we're recording this podcast. It's been 5 days since the release of Jurassic World. Well, in the UK anyway. How did we all... Are we dead? Is everybody dead?
I'm dead. Chris
dead.
is dead too. Chris is more dead.
Yeah. I'm very dead.
He's dead. I mean, it's right now. So what...
Jack, are you dead? You're dead, right?
I'm dead.
I think we're all dead.
I can't... it's hard... So it's really hard to process the fact that this movie's happened, and now
I
Jurassic
feel
Park
lost.
4 isn't something that for the past 14 years of my life, bear in mind I'm 22, so I've...
21,
like...
What
I've
now?
been
What do you
waiting for
do?
It's crazy. It feels like a weird feeling. Yeah. So what did we think of the movie?
It was good.
Oh my god. I don't even know where to start with that. That's such a...
Okay, Chris starts. Let's let Chris start.
That's a loaded question. Damn. Wow, that was fun. That movie...
Yeah.
Despite the trailers showing way too much, the movie still was just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking ride.
I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing for me is that I watched everything obviously because we had to post it, and there's no way you could stop me from not watching a trailer or a TV spot. But they definitely spoiled way too much.
Absolutely, way too much.
So,
oh my God.
like, if you're like me and you're smart, you didn't watch all of it.
Yeah,
so
but I'm
You
saying,
still saw most of it.
I
saw a lot of it, but I didn't see a lot of it either.
Yeah.
Suck it.
It was difficult. It was difficult to...
If you're one of the people who posted news stories on the website, it was hard to avoid.
That's why I don't post news stories. I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
You know what? Give me a second. I'm going to turn off my AC. I think it's registering on my Audacity.
Yeah, you sound like you're in
recording.
an airplane or something.
Yeah.
Recording from my jet. Hold on.
Good, I want one.
Hold on.
What's up, man?
So, Asees, what did you think?
It was good. I had some flaws with it. Some things just didn't work for me. But overall, worth the 14-year wait. It's a good Jurassic Park movie. It was a fun Jurassic Park movie, sorry. It was good too, I guess. But yeah, we'll talk about these spoilery stuff in a bit. But overall, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think overall, it took me... I've obviously said this to you guys. First viewing of the movie was on the evening of the 11th. And it was thundering here, which was awesome. It was a proper like thunderstorm, and we rarely get those here. It was so cool, and I was like, well, clearly the heavens know that I'm gonna watch this film. So the atmosphere was perfect, and I went in and watched this film. And when I came out, I couldn't believe it was over. It was so quick, and I couldn't process whether or not I enjoyed it. Honestly, I was frozen outside the theater, and all my friends were like, "Dude, that was the best. That was 10 out of 10." It got such good ratings from everyone I went with, but I was standing there, and they were like, "What did you think?" And I was like, "I don't know. I can't. I'm gone numb. I can't think. I don't know if I liked it or not." And it took a second and third viewing for me to really appreciate it. I just felt like it went so quick. And obviously,
it was hard to register everything that happened on screen. I was like, "Oh, what's happening? I don't understand this."
Yeah, it was
weird.
When the title card came up, I was just like, "Here we go, man."
Okay,
I feel like I'm the only one who actually started crying when that happened. Like, it was loud to the point where people were looking at me, and my sister was like, "Okay, stop this, or I'm about to walk out of the room." I'm like, I can't stop.
I just had
the best moment of my life.
Biggest smile throughout that movie.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the title card?
Okay.
Did anyone else think it just looked weird?
Well, I saw a different one to you guys, obviously. Wait, you mean with title card? You mean the text that says Jurassic World? Do you mean? Because I meant the certification this film is rated.
Oh.
Obviously, it's so different in
Oh
Britain.
no, I didn't see that.
No,
That's
but that
universal. Logo.
I guess what I don't know what you see in American.
Yeah,
Do you see the green thing?
They
Do you see
they don't show you that before you see the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, see, we have in Britain you have a BBFC, which is the equivalent of the MPAA, and it's just the title card, but it's got loads of details on it, director, and it just says Jurassic World, and it's got the rating 12A there. And when you see that, whenever I always see that when I go see a movie, and I don't know, something about that makes it official. And I saw that for Jurassic World, and I was like, I can't believe that exists.
Yeah, they don't do that here. I mean, obviously those cards exist, but they're only for trailers and websites. Once you're in the movie, the only thing they'll ever show that before are like the various movie trailers that you're watching.
Trailers.
Yeah, like if you're watching.
We see trailers. I think it's just to show you the certification of the film. You know,
Yeah,
the
you
rating.
never get that before a movie, because then after the trailers end, there's like a little.
You're missing out.
Yeah, then after the trailers end, there's like a little advertisement for like the theater chain or whatever. So it'll be like maybe an advertisement for like AMC theaters or IMAX, and you'll get like a cool like little 3D sizzle reel, and it'll be like, now prepare for the movie, and then next thing you know, it's the Universal logo crawling in, and you hear boom.
That was the best moment.
It was cool, and all those logos were fantastic as well.
I love the new Amblin logo.
Amblin logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That's vintage.
The student,
Yeah.
actually, people cheered in my audience when that came on.
It's such a rarity that speaks to only
Yeah.
a certain number of film fans, I think.
People were like,
You know-
oh man, an Amblin logo, like shit.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
This movie was special as fuck. Like, it's gonna be. I'm gonna swear a lot in this. So, kids, avert your ears or something, because I'm gonna be swearing all left and right up in this bitch. 'Cause I'm very excited.
So then we crawl into the, and this is very spoilery, obviously. So we go into the eggs hatching. Did anyone else expect to see the Indominus eat the sibling during that scene, or something along those lines?
No, but I
expect it to be
I
longer.
didn't expect that for... So the opening of the film, were you happy with that?
No, because I wanted more from... I mean, I was. I thought it was...
Oh, what?
I thought it was really cool, but I thought it would be a little bit longer. Like, I thought that we would at least maybe get, like, maybe then we'd hear, like, maybe Woo and the park staff maybe talk about the animals or something like that. Like, I thought maybe we would get, like, a little cryptic line delivery. Do you remember that, script page of Hamada, where he kind of gives that monologue about how he owned a snake, and then how he essentially says, like, don't let this animal eat anything that moves or bleeds. I thought maybe that would fit into, like, when the animal hatched. Maybe he would, like, kind of be there and be like, you know, whatever you do, don't take risks with this animal. But it just kind of...
That was a shame that page wasn't in the script.
Yeah, and I really don't see how it would have fit in, so it must have been cut. That must have been a very early version of the script. Like, I don't think that was from the final script.
Hamada's character was almost...
Non-existent.
Non-existent, yeah.
He had one line.
2 lines,
It
yeah,
can
that's funny.
camouflage!
Yeah, and... But yeah, so then you see the eggs hatch, and that was really cool. And you're like, oh man, I know. And you see the two of them, which I thought was actually a really neat touch.
That was nice, and the motion around them was nice. It kind of swings around. You're like, oh, there's another one. Then it goes back to that one. You're like, okay, that's our go.
Can I throw something out there? It really went out of its way to show you that there are two. What if the Indominus didn't eat the sibling and Wu lied, and like the second one is still alive somewhere? I think that
You son of a bitch.
I think that would be cheesy, but I mean, at the same time, it could actually work very well.
I want to see that. Why not?
That's not something I'm excited about. I don't want to see the Indominus.
We'll talk
again.
about the sequel stuff later.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's just something because they
but
went out of their way to show you there were two.
Did you guys miss the fact that there wasn't a inciting incident?
Yes.
There wasn't a scene at the beginning. It was just it was just one shot. And while it was awesome, and it was our favorite part of the marketing as well, we all kind of expected maybe a scene from back in '94 or building Jurassic World and shit, there's a wild raptor or something. Just something a little bit more that sets the scene. There wasn't any of that, and I can understand why they didn't. I understand why they got to the movie. They got to the island within 10 minutes. Like, it makes sense, but I kind of missed out on that.
Speaking of wild raptors, real quick. Did you guys notice that the Indominus Rex paddock was actually in the restricted zone?
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
was.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm thinking there's no actual wild raptors anymore. I'm assuming.
No. I thought we knew that fairly recently.
What?
The Indominus after we saw some of the maps, it was clear that the Indominus paddock was in the restricted zone.
Oh, fuck me, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
Which ended up meaning there's nothing.
Okay.
So I was kind of gutted.
So then why... that raises some questions, and I'll get to that later. But, no, I actually didn't quite catch on to that. Although they did imply that there were restricted zones throughout the park at different areas, and only the far north was the one that was majorly indicated. Because, you've got to figure the East Dock sign, which was cut for the movie. Obviously, the East Dock sign, I don't think was in the far north of the island. I don't think that's where it's supposed to be. So, were the kids actually in the far north of the island when they're in a restricted zone, or were they restricted zone, or were they somewhere else?
I would assume they're in the restricted zone, though, because they went through that gate, right?
Yeah, but if you go to Mizrani Global, the website, it does mention there are numerous quarantine zones throughout the island.
So hang on. So you're suggesting that the visitor center was not actually in the upper north, but like somewhere on like the left side
it wasn't
plains
upper
or something?
north. Yeah, it was low down.
It could have... Now, what I'm thinking is the upper north was all locked off, so it was all restricted, but there might have been other little pockets of areas throughout the island that were closed off for one reason or another. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really dig into the geography of the movie when I was watching it, so when I go to see it later this week again, I'll take a look at that. It's kind of hard to say. But
did you guys notice how, when the vet vehicle, the medical vehicle, was driving down that road, and it tracks slightly to the right, and there's that old sign that says research.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, that's so like classic GP. They've kept that.
I wonder if that sign was added after they realized they cut the East Dock sign. I wonder if that was like something that they really wanted to get in the movie, so they kind of threw that in there.
So the whole cutting of the we didn't see the East Dock sign, and there was apparently, Colin has spoken about, there's a whole sequence, a journey to the visitor centre with Nick and Ty, which shows a bit more of the old park. Nothing crazy, but through the jungle basically. I'm really gutted that got cut.
Yeah, I would have liked to see what they saw, and I think it would have given people a little bit of perspective of the distance that they traveled to kind of stumble upon the visitor center, that they didn't just kind of like take a left turn and they're like, well, hey, there we go, we found a way out of this. I didn't get that impression, but I did read some reviews where people were like, oh, and then of course they found the old visitor center. I'm like, really? You're going to complain about... Whatever, people complain about anything. I just would have liked to see a little bit more of the journey through the island, because I really always love that kind of adventure feel. But maybe it just didn't work with the pacing of the movie. Maybe the way they filmed it tonally just didn't fit in. Like, maybe it was a little too much of like... just kind of like, here's people walking, like almost like in in Harry Potter, and was it the final Deathly Hallows movie, where like it just shows them traveling the wilderness, like it just kind of clips of them walking through all these different environments, and it feels a little weird. Maybe
I don't remember that movie at all, so I don't know.
Yeah, those movies, I don't know. The books are great, and
oh, hang on. I wanted to bring up something, but I forgot what it was. Right, the visitor center. Did we all agree that it was, like, not properly done?
It was a little...
Like, you couldn't tell what the fuck it was.
Yeah, it didn't resonate very well. Like, I obviously knew what it was, but at the same time, I didn't really get, like, the chills that I expected, because I was too busy trying to, like, place the geography in my head, and it never quite, like, aligned. For like, oh, there's the staircase, there's the balcony. Like, I wish it were a little bit more clear.
It was too overgrown.
It was, I think...
The concept art was much better done in showing that it was like, look, you can see the stairs, you can see the balcony, and that type of stuff.
and I really appreciate that we got to see the visitor center again. That's everyone's wanted to see that from the beginning. Yeah. But it just wasn't... if you weren't a fan, you couldn't tell. And that's another point, actually. The original Rex returned. If you weren't a fan... You
no way you'd know.
No way you'd know. And even the scars, like, my friend texted me and was like, so was it the original Rex? Is that what they're saying? And I was like, yeah, man, it didn't come across clearly. There should have been a conversation about it.
No, it just should have been when Nick and Ty were trying to see the T-Rex. It should have been on the overhead voice. Like, when they're like looking at feed, it should have been, this Tyrannosaur has been part of our island for 27 years and has been alive since the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And, like, a voiceover like that would have made it, like, everyone would have been like, oh my god. And then you don't get to see it, and then you're like, shit. But then when you see her finally at the end, it just would have made it all the better.
How cool would it have been if when they introduced the Rex, the first thing it suddenly calms down and we're in this, deep jungle or what would you call it, pine forest where the Rex was being kept. We're following kind of not from the Rex's point of view, but there's no one else. It's just the Rex, and we're like, shit, is this a wild Rex? Are we on Sauna now? Like, you don't know what's happening, and then it's kind of like you get the point that it's hunting, and then you see this goat, and you're like, what's going on? Well, hang on. Is it a goat? So this is part of Jurassic World, and then it finally clocks together, and you see the log, you see the guy throw the flare, and then it attacks it. And I don't know. I think that would have been a much cooler way to introduce it. That scene was like a shot.
I think
like 2 shots.
The idea, though, is it was teasing it, and we're supposed to see it from their perspective. Like, it was like, oh, there's a T-Rex, but you don't get to see her yet. Like, you gotta wait. And we were kind of seeing it from the perspective of, like, Ty, especially, because he was too short to see it. And in a lot of ways, that's the way that they showed it. Like, oh, nope, not yet. You don't get to see that animal yet. Sorry. And I appreciated that.
It was well done. Because it
was like Godzilla, except better.
I was trying to look over and see it. Like,
yeah, it wasn't like Godzilla where, like, there was clearly, like, a cool as hell fight going on, and they're like, no, we're not going to show you that. It was a very simple type of reveal, and it was just teased, which I really appreciated.
Oh, but when the thing does its sound, like that super low little roar thing, and it's coming up to the goat, I was like, oh, fuck yes. Oh, fuck yes.
It's such a...
I love that roar.
Yeah, it just... I felt like the animals didn't make enough noise in this movie, though. I like the sounds, I guess. They just weren't... It didn't quite resonate as much. Like, you didn't get all, like, the screeches and squeals and barks from the raptors as much.
That one scene where they did the bark, though, I was like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
That was
so cool.
We've heard them talk before, and they're usually a lot louder. All the animals are usually a little bit more loud. I think the animal that quote-unquote talked the most would be the Dinopatosaurus. She kept mooing.
Yeah, that
scene
was
beautiful. Cool. Best scene in the movie, hands down.
Yeah, that was
nice. It was very nice.
That was a difficult scene to watch. It was a very, very beautiful scene, and just the music really sold it to me. But we should back up for a moment, because I'm not even sure if we finished
introducing the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, I still I want to add, God, I really missed an inciting incident in this movie. Like, I really wanted to see.
Well, I think it's important that they didn't do it, though, because they're showing us that, listen, this movie is not a classic Jurassic Park movie, it's fresh.
But with a movie like this, where you're going to a mysterious place, you always have to.
I think inciting incidents are cool just because they're a lot of fun, and I think that it was just like a little bit of a bummer because it was the perfect chance to show us just a little bit of something that doesn't fit into the timeline of the movie. So it would have given us that chance to just take a peek at the island when it was being built or something along those lines. And it just would have kind of helped fulfill that little bit of look at the island before Jurassic World overtook it. Like, take a look at the wild island being built, or take a look at these animals being captured, or just something along those lines that could have teased.
I wouldn't
I've always loved that.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that later on in one of the other movies. Because
it's possible.
Because, Wu is a sneaky son of a bitch, so...
Yeah.
He might have been doing some fucked up shit way back then when they were rebuilding the park and doing the cleanup and stuff, so we might see flashbacks. Weren't there rumors of Wu filming some flashbacks earlier on in production?
I honestly... I don't think that was what was being conveyed. I think that was mistranslated.
Okay. Well, I hope we see something. I don't know, the ruins. I want to see more ruins. Like, not a lot, but just like some more. There weren't enough.
Yeah.
And I think those rumors might have came from, I think someone just might have caught wind that he got off the island and it sets up a sequel. And I think that's how those rumors kind of came to be. Like, we're like, oh, Wu filmed a scene for the sequel, and then people thought he filmed scenes that were meant for sequels. But the reality is,
we have to.
The reality
is,
he filmed a scene that set up the sequel.
Yeah, but he supposedly filmed a lot in his lab, and in the movie there was nothing in his lab.
Not even one scene.
Not even one scene. He goes to the door of it, and I'm like, yeah, here we go. Nothing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're like video journals or something like that from Wu's perspective. But
where are they?
Yeah, that's my question: is where are they? Why aren't they on
Blu-ray?
I guess. I mean, they're obviously not on JurassicWorld.com or MasraniGlobal.com, and I suppose they could still come, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
It was just a bit. Yeah, I wanted to see a bit more of Wu. Wu's
really
lines.
pulled the Jurassic Park.
Some of Wu's lines were directly from the book. That was amazing. That was so nice.
Wu was a badass, though. He was badass.
He was. He was really good in it. BD Wong was
He's so fucking scary. Like a Bond villain almost. But
yeah, but like,
good.
I never thought it would go there.
Yeah,
and it was so good, and you could tell he was so passionate about his work.
I didn't get his motivation though. Why is he a bad guy now? I don't understand this. How do you?
Yeah, that
what
wasn't explored as well as it. At least, I mean, you can assume why.
Well,
but he wasn't mistreated. He got paid loads. His lab was everything he wanted it to be. Like
now,
there was no reason.
Here's
for him to,
my interpretation of this character.
Okay,
I don't think he's necessarily a villain. I think that he is an incredibly intelligent man, and he's wowed the world, and he realized that he's basically unlocked all these amazing genetic secrets and has been able to do these amazing things. He knows that he's wowed the world. I think now he feels like he can change the world, and in his mind, for the better. He's probably thinking...
That does make sense.
I think he's thinking in his mind, I can change the front of medicine. I can change people no longer have to fight in wars. I can, create biological weapons that maybe don't kill people, that they could only knock them out. I can cure cancer. If my leash is loosened, I can do so much, and maybe we can unlock things from the genetic code from these ancient animals that unlock secrets of our genetics today that can help, reverse aging, and we can help. I think that, I think that's what, and I think Hoskins manipulates him.
Yeah, and I think, like you were saying, I think he then, when he realised he may be able to change the world and he can do all this and that, I think he's like, well, I want the fame.
Yeah, I think that's something that's very clear. I think Wu wants to be recognized also for what he's been able to do, because obviously he's done the impossible. He's brought dinosaurs back from life, and he's also brought them back from life in a way that they're using the DNA from other animals. And really, do I sound echoey?
A little bit.
That's weird. I don't know what to do. It's gonna be what it is. Hopefully my Audacity is recording it differently.
That's
fine.
You in an
open
as long
room?
as you're nice and close to the mic.
Yeah, I'm close. I'm in my room, and I'm not in an echo chamber. I'm like sitting in my bed.
That's fine. Speaking of echo, what do we think of the Raptors?
Velociraptor.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's a good one.
Sorry, Asees, I had to.
Well, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just fucking psyched up on the movie still.
Yeah.
I loved them. I didn't love the CG, nor the animation at times, because I felt like it all felt a little undercooked, but I love the Raptors.
Yes, the fucking Raptors. I accept they didn't feel scary. Even when they turned on the people, that was my favorite part of the movie, that last act. I just didn't feel that terror from a Velociraptor. Like, that thing's gonna fuck us up,
Well, you didn't.
I didn't feel it.
I didn't feel that either.
Because I guess the closest time it came to it was when Barry was inside the log and Blue was trying to get him.
But he stopped Blue just by calling her name. I'm like, this is not a Velociraptor anymore.
Well,
this is
no, you gotta.
It's too tamed.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's tamed. It's more like. See, I think a lot of people saw them as tamed. I saw the Raptors as accepting Owen and Barry as extended pack mates. So,
but how come that doesn't make sense later on in the movie, though? I don't know.
No, it still makes it makes sense to me. So, and I can tell you why. I think the movie just did a bad job conveying this, because I don't even think it did a bad job. I thought it was handled really well, but the whole Indominus communicating with the Raptors and everything along those lines, they're not speaking a secret language. Animals communicate via sounds.
Yeah, people don't understand this. I don't really get this. People are like, oh, they can't talk to fucking animals. I'm like, are you fucking stupid?
I mean,
animals can talk or speak or communicate.
I mean, yeah, it's not like a language. It's very rudimentary. But I mean, if you listen to birds singing to each other, they're talking. They're it's very simple things, but they're kind of calling out very simple things like, I'm safe. I'm hungry. Let's fly. That's kind of like what let's have sex. Let's make babies. It's spring. Let's make that's what animals do. That's basically what their sounds are. Or danger. It's very simple sounds that are associated with very base survival.
Yeah, raptors use simple sounds too.
And then if you look at intelligent animals like wolves or chimps and gorillas, you'll see that there's even more to the social structure. But do they have a language that they're speaking, or is it conveyed through other means? Now, I'd say that obviously it's conveyed through other means. They have barks and hisses and chirps that kind of convey their emotions. So,
even body language to an extent. So
absolutely.
I wish they talked about that more in the movie. That would have been something like that would have added the scientific aspect.
The movie was lacking some scientific aspect. Greatly,
if they could have added this, oh my god, I would have been so happy.
I think that's what made Wu and Mizrahi so enjoyable, is they brought that aspect into the film.
Yeah.
Which is why I would have liked to see more of their character or another character bringing in that element. I mean, I love the movie. If there's one thing that I just kind of felt like, oh man, character-wise, we needed a little bit more of a kind of scientific perspective in the film. Like one or two more times, especially towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, this movie is fucking... It did so much right, though. Like, it may sound like we're bashing it. It did so much right. More than I expected. More than I wanted.
Definitely.
Oh my god. I can't wait to see it again today.
But,
oh my god.
Oh, you can see it today?
Oh my god. Yeah. It's so exciting.
If I didn't have that meeting later, I definitely would see it today. So...
Yeah, how many times have you seen it? I've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah, 3 as well so far.
I've only seen it twice.
in 3D and then twice in 2D. And honestly, it gets better with each viewing.
I was going to see it a third time in California, but it was actually sold out at all the theaters, so I was like, well, I guess I can't do that.
Can we speak about that for a second? Let's speak about the box office for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because Jurassic World, he knocked down Avengers for opening weekend and global weekend. Oh my
biggest
face.
Opening weekend ever.
So
no one expected this.
The third sequel in a franchise is crazy.
And it's been 14 years since another one. The sequels weren't really met that well by fans or critics alike. And it's been 14 years, and it beats the domestic block office. It beats the domestic box office, international box office, and the worldwide box office. It sets the records across the board, and it's beating films. Avengers held the domestic box office title. It beat the Avengers, which obviously had a ton of lead up and build up. With Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Captain America, the Hulk, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie had a lot leading up to it. More than just 14 years of hardcore fans anticipating it. I mean, it had casual moviegoers looking forward to it as well.
And then repeat viewings as well. I've talked to many people who aren't like crazy fans, like, oh my god, I can't wait to see it again. The action, oh my god, the Raptors, oh fuck the ending.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, Jurassic World dominated the box office, and people are eating it up. And I have never heard an audience get so into a movie before in my life.
Especially when the Rex comes at the end, forget about it.
People were cheering left and right. Now, apparently, American audiences get into movies a lot more than any other.
You do. You so do.
And I mean,
in Britain, people don't. I mean, at least not where I see films. People don't cheer and scream. People react, but
I'll be honest,
it's not like a huge round of applause that resonates through the theater. Like, it doesn't happen. People are much more reserved.
I'll be honest. I only saw this trend starting to happen right around The Dark Knight and then the Marvel films. I think that's when I started seeing the trend of people getting into movies like that. Whatever happened then, I think it changed the climate of. I think now going to the movies in a lot of ways is for these big type of films, it's more about a shared experience with the people in the audience that you don't know. And I think that's how that climate has basically came into being, because I think it's about sharing this crazy. I think it's becoming more of an event. Going to these big franchise movies is an event, and I think that's how that climate of cheering and everything came into it. Because I used to think it was the weirdest thing ever. Now with Jurassic World, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I was so into it. It was just crazy. I mean, people,
and it's because it's a big magical movie. It hits all those notes of it doesn't feel like a film that's all it is doing is laying the foundation for a sequel. It didn't feel like that at any point. It just hinted at you could continue the story with Wu, or you could continue the story with Pratt.
It helped set up the universe.
It was so perfectly crafted in that way, I just really appreciated it. I was slightly worried that all it was going to do is be like, yeah, this is where the franchise will go. Like, I'm so pleased it didn't do that.
Can we talk about how surprising it is that Wu survived? There was one character from the beginning that were like, yep, they're dead. And it was Wu.
Yeah.
Because Wu gets brutally murdered by velociraptors in the book.
Yeah, I mean, and that's clearly because they want to take the sequel. It'll likely include Wu because he's the source of, the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think it was an important way to help people understand now that it's no longer strictly reserved to Nublar or Sorna.
Yeah, which is really important. But yeah, I thought he was going to die, and then unfortunately, I'd heard that Hoskins was going to die before I saw the movie.
Oh,
so
really?
That was kind of ruined for me, but his death was kind of cool.
I knew. I knew what was happening. As soon as Wu got off the island, I was able to put two and two together because of that Empire interview when they're like, someone gets mauled by a velociraptor in the Innovation Center. I'm like, well, I guess that's Hoskins.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Wu.
Fair enough. I was a little gutted with his death because I really liked him as a character. He was the perfect one to die, but I really, really liked his character.
Yeah,
a lot.
He was a lot of fun.
I really liked Hoskins. He was the way he just Vincent D'Onofrio kind of like bumbled around on set. The way he was like jumping with excitement. He was perfect for his role. His role of the animals aren't animals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He was so good in that role. I really, really liked his character, man.
No, I totally agree. He was a lot of fun. He was very over the top in the way that he kind of he didn't act over the top, nor was anything that he did unbelievable. But he was just a very kind of larger than life type of character in a lot of ways at the same time, because he was just so caught up in his views, and he's very much he fit the role so well.
Yeah, he was just so perfect. He was a badass, and I was excited for his character. Every time I saw him, I was like, yeah, because he's just a motherfucker. He's just a dick.
But what they didn't make him go into a villain mode. When Owen, knocks him, basically, punches him in the face. He doesn't unleash. He's not like, oh, you're gonna pay for that. He never does that. Oh, you're not with me, then you're against me. He never does any of that. He's just basically like, you guys are idiots, and he believed he was right, and he would just basically tell everyone that. He's like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can't really stop me. But he never threatened anybody, which I really appreciated. He never and
that's what he said in an interview. Actually, D'Onofrio said the interviewer asked him about his character being the villain. He was like, you know what, I'm not. My character doesn't believe he's the villain. I was always right, and that's how I portray my role. So I don't think I was the villain. I was always right. Everyone else was wrong, and I was like, that's a really good actor right there. Because it came across so well. He wasn't just a badass villain. He was just this motherfucker.
Exactly.
That's what he was.
And even at the end when he's giving his little monologue, it wasn't like one of those villains monologues like, you're on the wrong side of the fence, but I'm afraid I can't let you leave this. He was just like, you guys are idiots. Come on, let's get the hell out of here. But you guys are idiots. I'm right, and I'm taking over the company. And sorry, Claire, you're out of the job. But anyways, so catch you on the other side. He was never like, and I'm leaving you behind on the island for the dinosaurs to take care of. It was never anything really cheesy like that. He was just like, basically, hey, it's my world now. I've taken over. Tough luck. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I just thought he was really good, and I'm trying to think who else was good. I was gutted about Hamada. He didn't really get his screen time.
Hamada seemed like a genuine, he seemed like a good, he knew what he was doing, and he also probably he didn't have that feeling of he was one of Engine's mercenaries who basically all came off as assholes. I definitely,
which was hilarious.
I didn't feel bad for any of the Engine guys being taken out. But do we see too many of them get taken out, or do we mainly see ACU guys get taken out?
Mainly ACU. We see from POVs of Raptors taking them down, but we didn't see it like we do in Lost World, for example.
Yeah. Watching them get to that scene with the Indominus, which, by the way, it still seems like 1 or 2 ACU people walked out of that situation alive.
Yeah.
Did
maybe.
we lose Asees?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that sound is. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's coming back. His power went out. Nedry cut the power.
How long ago did that happen?
About 5 minutes. I was trying to keep it out of the podcast because I don't want to cut.
No, we can keep it. I mean, people... believe it or not, there's technical issues. All major theme parks have delays.
All about the quotes. So, overall, you loved it?
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved the movie. Genuinely loved the movie. And when I walked out of the movie, I said, oh my god, I love that. Oh god, this might split the fan base down in two, because it's very different. It's very different. And I told you this earlier when we were just talking before we did the podcast, but it's like you take the base of a Jurassic Park movie, and then on one end you put like an Amblin family movie like E.T. or The Goonies. On the other end, you take a very action-y movie that still was very well done, like Aliens. And then you throw in like some of the character motives and character traits of like an Indiana Jones movie, the kind of fun romp adventure type of feel, and you throw it together, and that's kind of what you come out with. Because most of the characters kind of felt like sort of Indiana Jonesy at times. Like a lot of the character beats, like the way they handled the romance, it didn't feel Jurassic Park, but it certainly felt Spielberg. Just it felt more like the Indiana Jones type of adventure type of movie. And the humor kind of felt like it was more a place with, like, Indiana Jones or The Goonies. And then some of those action sequences, they felt very Jurassic Park, but there was definitely sort of that aliens of, the mercenaries versus the creatures that they're just not ready to take out. And they kind of get picked off one by one in these really, really cool action sequences. And, of course, it helps that you see it from their point of view at times over the...
Yeah, so the GoPro, the whole cameras on heads thing.
Yeah.
it was not in your face. It was done very well because you were kind of. It reminded me a hell of a lot. When they're all when the ACU guys are getting ready to go out and take this Indominus down, and you've got like GoPro in the van, and they're all driving, and they're kind of their bodies are moving in sync, obviously because they're on a rough road. That felt so like the Lost World PlayStation game. That's exactly what it felt like to me. All those. Kind of CCTV, GoPro head cams, because that's what they did in that game in the intro sequences. I've said it on podcast before. I love that intro sequence where the hunter's running through the forest and he's talking to these guys, and there's raptors behind him, and you can see him on the map. And I was like, that's Colin must have got it from there. Like, at least partially, he must have thought that's a cool.
It just reminded me of Aliens, because in Aliens they really do that. But I know a lot of movies do that. But I think Aliens was the movie that did it the best.
Yeah,
and I think this movie did it. I mean, it had its own style. It wasn't like, oh man, this is a total Aliens reference. It's easy to compare it to something you already know, and I compared it to the Lost. I never played that game. I never.
Oh
yeah, time I come clean. I never played any of the PlayStation Jurassic Park games.
There's still time, man. It is one of the best games.
I played the Sega Genesis ones and the 3DO game. 3DO, nobody even knows about that system. Nintendo game. And then I skipped this PlayStation one for whatever reason, and then of course I got into Operation Genesis on the. It was like the PS2 or the GameCube or the Xbox. It was one of those three consoles that I got into it on.
Yeah, Operation Genesis was great. But yeah, so I really liked the GoPro stuff because it wasn't overused. It didn't feel...
it had a reason.
Like, hey, look, GoPro's on Raptors. It was good. It was smart. And when Owen takes it off the Raptor at the end, it's a nice little kind of... It's like a character that's rescuing a dog almost.
Yeah.
It's got that feel to it.
Well, it was intelligent because it showed, hey... it resonates, it completely goes back to what he says. It's not about control, it's about respect. And when he takes it off of Blue, that's his way of saying, no, I'm not, look, Blue, I'm not trying to control you. We're in this together type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when Blue, for Blue, it's like, well, he's been my pack mate all my life. Obviously, he's not a raptor. And if he makes the wrong move around me, I'm gonna spill his intestines, but
Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, for an animal, that does resonate. Animals do think like that, and that's why it worked for me. I mean, you know, basically, the Raptors were playing. You know what he said. You know, it's a game of hide and seek. Like they would always do it with the Raptors for like, you know, different test operations inside the paddock. They give them a smell and they have to go find it. So the Raptors have the smell. They go find it. They see an animal. They're on defenses. The animal starts reminding it smells sort of like a raptor. Starts sounding like a raptor. So they're basically like, well, we found what we were supposed to find, and we're out of our paddock, and we've got a bunch of humans over here that we don't know or care about, and this thing's basically saying, you know, it's not being aggressive, it's saying, like, I'm one of you. You know, that's really, it didn't say, like, turn on the humans, embrace the dark side.
What did I miss?
Everything.
Yeah, no, it's alright, Asees. Basically, we're talking about, well, actually, I was going to lead on to the Mosasaur. What do you think of the Mosasaur and how, you know, her two scenes? What do we think?
I liked it.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending where she jumped up and got the thing. It was really deep blue sea and cheesy as fuck.
It was very B movie, but the more I watch it, the more it's kind of just works. It's done well.
People
like it. I don't like
though.
it.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it could have been done in a way that it could have been just as cool, but maybe a little less over the top. What could have helped actually if the Indominus maybe like its foot was touching the water or something like that, like stirring the water so like there's some sort of a little bit more of intimacy with the water and the Indominus. But I mean,
they kind of alluded to it, didn't they, with the line, like, even the Mosasaur hunts things close to the waterfront or something.
Well,
they
do.
In shallow.
They do. I mean, they did believe that the Mosasaurs hunted like that. I mean, that's what they just showed was not unheard of in, like, dinosaur documentaries. You know, you do see them kind of beach themselves to grab prey. So, I mean, I don't think that was completely... For me, it worked. It wasn't something that I was like... you know, the way that it was visually conveyed was a bit over the top, but at the same time, it worked for me.
Yeah. No, it was really good. But the...
I think that there's one issue
I was a bit...
The CG looked very CG, if that makes sense.
The entire ending was...
Very CG-looky. And, like, it looked very good, but at the same time, it never tried to convince you that they were actually animatronics or anything like that. I mean, it was very over the top and crazy, which was a lot.
But I really liked the end.
Yes, it was a
battle.
lot of fun. It was crazy and ridiculous, and also the animals still felt like animals, but it was just so crazy, and I liked it.
And dude, the Rex, I really thought the Rex was going down.
Yeah.
That genuinely, it got me. I was like, no, you can't kill her.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me here? Like,
could you imagine if they did?
Do you know, if they did, I would not have been
It makes sense, though. There's no way a T-Rex is going to beat the I-Rex or Indominus.
Well, I disagree. I think that T-Rex in her prime would have destroyed the Indominus.
But she's a senior citizen now.
Yeah.
She's an oldie.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously knows things, but yeah, you could really feel that she wasn't like the bulky T-Rex in her prime. No, but I mean, I think the T-Rex would have probably just destroyed her. It seemed. Well, it probably would have been close, but yeah. No,
I thought it was good. I really liked that because it got me on the edge of my seat again. It got me thinking, actually, they could kill the Rex. I don't know what's going to happen at this point. They're throwing everything at this movie.
At that point, then I was like, is the Rex going to die? What the hell happens now? Like, I'm like, no, don't kill the T-Rex. That's... Especially, I did not want to see the original T-Rex off like that. I'm like, that's just not really a good way to, like, end that character.
No, but they clearly... there was a big nod to JP3 in there where she bashes through the
Spinosaurus.
The Spinoskeleton. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
That was so uncalled for.
I mean, yeah, I like JP3, but it was just like... It was just like, yeah, the Rex ain't dying here today.
Yeah, no, I love...
She's back.
I love that. That was just such a great little thing they did there, and I just had the biggest smile on my face when that happened. It was just...
Same. The end sequence was one of my favourite parts of the movie. You know, even though at first the kind of the Mosasaur coming out, the B movie kind of... It was very like, you know, Sharktopus versus, you know... but it really... did work for me. I really liked that sequence and I liked the ending.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say before Mosasaur didn't get her screen time.
No, I think
she got the one
Good,
scene
I'm okay
that they've
with that.
spoiled in trailers. They spoiled her one scene.
they spoiled her 2
The whole
scenes.
scene.
What else are you gonna do with it?
Dude, there should have been underwater tunnels.
Yeah.
Like an aquarium where instead of just the seating that goes downstairs, you should have been able to walk downstairs and walk around.
Well, there
tank,
is,
I'm sure.
because we saw in the
Yeah.
Raptor's underwater
And-
viewing area. Actually, what I thought we would do is maybe when the characters were being chased by raptors or something like that, I thought maybe they would get pushed into there, so we'd see characters being pushed, being chased by raptors with like a mosasaur swimming in the background. Like, I thought that
100% exactly what I wanted. I said it in like one of the first podcasts. I must have said that. That's exactly where I wanted it. I said I reckon when shit goes down on this island, when things start attacking, people take shelter in the aquarium tanks, the underwater tunnels that surround the Mosasaur arena, and we'll get like a deep story that's in there where people are trying to rescue the other
That becomes
family members
Jaws
and stuff.
3D though. We don't want
No,
Jaws.
but I
3D.
don't think
how's
so. I
that
think it would have
Jaws
been done.
3D? How's that?
Isn't that what happened? Isn't it Jaws? Doesn't that
Well,
what happened in
kind
Jaws
of,
3D?
yeah. But Jaws 3D is just.
Well, I never. Wait, what happens to Jaws 3D? People see the shark
Fuck.
from inside of an aquarium, and they're being chased by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
What are people being chased by? In
Minus
Jaws
the
3D?
dinosaurs, you monkey.
What are they being chased by? Why are they? What's the problem?
Wasn't there a shark in the aquarium?
Okay, but wait, how's it become Jaws 3D? I'm saying
Isn't that Jaws 3D?
I don't know, but I've never seen Jaws 3D. I've only seen Jaws.
I watched it with. I watched Jaws 3D with
Wait.
Owens when we were in London, and we pretty much talked Jurassic World the entire time, so I don't remember much from it. But
okay.
yeah, it was like a working park. It was like SeaWorld, and then shit goes down, but it just wasn't very good. It's not something that grabbed attention.
But what I'm
Cool
saying
concept.
is the Mosasaur. I didn't want the Mosasaur. What I'm saying is I don't get how it's Jaws 3D, because I'm not saying the Mosasaur should have been a threat when they're down there. I'm saying other animals.
No, the Mosasaur wouldn't have been a
other
threat.
animals.
It's
It should have
just
been there in the background, so we could just see her swimming around and just living in her environment. But other things should have been the threat. Like, we should have been intimate with the characters and something else, but had a chance to see the Mosasaur underwater where she lives.
Yeah. So Chris, before, let me say this. Let me backtrack. Pacing of the movie, like, for me, was great, but it was the first time I watched it was way too quick. Second time I began to appreciate it, that this is just a fast moving movie, unlike Jurassic Park, which is, when you think about it, has a lot of conversations which are quite slow. So it was fine. Like, second and third viewing, I began to it worked for me. But if the kid, this is why I would have wanted to see the kids spend a night in the old park, and all the while that's happening, obviously the Indominus is still in the restricted zone. The ACU are trying to deal with that. The Pteranodons have got out and they fucked people up, and they've managed to get rid of the Pteranodons or
something,
or whatever. And the guests are now in the park, so they take shelter. They go in the hotels. The ferry's not coming till morning, so they hide. And while they're hiding, wild raptors from the restricted zone, which the Indominus may have broke the fence, whatever's holding the restricted zone off, wild raptors, and I know that wasn't part of Jurassic World, there are no wild raptors, but wild raptors come in and they start taking people down. They're running down hotel corridors.
That would be
they're
so special, man.
Jumping people out
I
windows.
think-
And then that's when people get pushed down into the aquarium tanks, boom, and then you've got this. You could have such a touching scene with the two boys where they're in the back of a jeep sleeping or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they could have had such a really nice conversation, and we could have seen a lot more of the park, but it also slows the movie down a tad. It gives you that breathing space in the middle, where it's overnight, and then the next day is when shit kicks back up. But overnight, raptors are fucking things up. Because when you think about it, the park guests never saw the Indominus. They never saw anything other than the Pteranodons attacking. So the guests are none the wiser.
I have a few problems there. Obviously, all the Pteranodons there's no way they could have cleaned them all up. So,
exactly.
Where were the bodies at the end? I know that's a little grim, but where were the bodies? People were being killed left and right, and Pteranodons were being taken out left and right on Main Street. Where the hell were the
Probably a
bodies?
cleanup crew or something. I don't know.
Did they really have it? Would that have been part of the cleanup? I mean, cleanup crew would have probably taken care of the people. Okay, so we've got that.
Well, who were the people who were shooting at the Pteranodons anyway? That wasn't ACU.
That was like park security. That was like park, like ACU was like a very designated like military type of internal task force, and then park security were like, imagine like if you go to a zoo and a gorilla gets loose. Before the police get there, you've still got, veterinarians with trank guns and, like, prods and
Fuck,
everything. Yeah,
that scene, man, that was so sick.
There
that
was
my favorite
actually,
part of the movie, hands down.
If you paid attention, there was a scene where when the Pteranodons were taken, in the petting zoo, you see animal handlers like hugging like the dinosaurs and trying to guide the baby dinosaurs and trying to guide them out of there. So there were I appreciated that because I think that a lot of people would. I think a lot of people, if you worked intimately with these animals, you would be out there risking yourself trying to protect them. And you saw the staff with the prods trying to protect the visitors as well. But no, I just would like to know. Obviously, quite a few of those animals were taken out with tranquilizers. What did they do with them? I think it would have been. It was too clean at the end. It was too deserted, too clean. I mean, I'm like, where the hell are the pteranodons?
Yeah, and the ending itself, they suddenly cut to Costa Rica, and you don't have any idea what happens to the island. I know in Jurassic Park they just leave and that's it,
yeah.
But there was no hint of what would happen to the island, and because the guests, none of the guests saw the Indominus and stuff like that. Something tells me that there is the park could. I mean, Asees, you were saying this. The
park's staying
has
open.
a
There's
chance
no
of
fucking
staying
way it's
open.
closing.
No.
Animals get loose in zoos all the time, and but in Jurassic World's universe, Jurassic World is essentially just a zoo already. So
no, I
it's the
disagree
equivalent of a
because
tiger getting loose, though.
If you had Disney World or anything or a zoo where a tiger got loose, or not a tiger got loose, let's say a pack of wolves got loose, and they took out God knows how many people. And also, no, people saw it. They were right across the bay. They definitely saw the T-Rex and Indominus fighting.
No, but people were off the island by that point.
No, they
didn't
weren't.
see that.
Because we get
Where were they?
We get a cutaway. They're in the hotel. And the hotel's right across the bay and it has a perfect view because we've seen...
Who's right across the hotel? The guests?
All the guests are across the bay in the hotel.
Yeah, but we never saw them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we get one cutaway where they're all in the hotel.
When?
Later,
When did this happen?
it's at nighttime. They're all the guests are in the hotel.
Oh yeah, they're all sitting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the lobby.
So there's no way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's no way some of them did not notice the T-Rex and Indominus duking it out.
I don't.
I
know.
think-
I don't
No, man,
know
the
if
park's
they-
staying open. I'm going to call it. I'm going to make my prediction. It's staying open. There's no way it's closing.
No,
This will actually boost. This will boost people coming to the park.
No.
Guaranteed.
there's no way. You've got to figure all the lawsuits, especially with Simon Mizrahi killed. So Simon Mizrahi.
He's one of the richest people on the planet. He'll be fine. He'll deal with a lawsuit just fine.
He'll
problem.
be
He'll be fine. He's
Done.
dead. He's dead.
Well, his company will be fine.
No. You've got to understand. So they're there by lease of the Costa Rican government, and at this point, I'm not saying they're going to trash the island, but the entire company, Jurassic World as an entity, is going to be under so much scrutiny that there is no way they're reopening that park. And you've got to realize, I don't even think the park's secure. Now they've got Main Street's destroyed. God knows how many.
Fix it. No big deal.
God knows how many visitors are dead. The entire restricted zone's compromised. There's a T-Rex on the loose. At least one Velociraptor on the loose. Pteranodons and Dimorphodons are definitely still alive. Who knows? Maybe they're out exploring the world at this point again.
Well, you have to remember, InGen is not dead yet. InGen still has their
No.
own security thing.
But InGen's not about the park really. InGen's private military.
True.
I don't think InGen's dead. I think Jurassic World.
InGen's not dying. They'll be the bad guys in the next movie.
InGen's fine because it's its own separate entity. It's not like Mizrahi Energy is going to collapse because of the collapse of Jurassic World. But
I just don't think they're going to close the park. They'll figure some weird way around it. Trust me, man. There's no way. There's too much money to be had.
There's a
Too
lot
much
of money.
invested. You can't
There's
just throw it away.
A lot of money to be had, but we're not talking about a situation where a child falls into an animal exhibit at a zoo and gets mauled, or a gorilla breaks out. We're talking about, a widespread catastrophic event, and especially the Pteranodons. What they managed to do was,
I'm curious. I want to see I wonder what the worst incident at a zoo around the world was. It couldn't be just one or two animals get loose. I'm sure there's something worse. Oh, by the way, Jurassic World had a big record-breaking Monday as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, did it break the? What the hell held the record? Was it the Dark Knight?
I don't know, man. It just said record-breaking Monday for a non-holiday Monday. So
I wonder how much did it make?
very good. 25 point something.
I want to say I read earlier that the record was 18.
Oh, that crushed. It got 20 something at least. So.
Wow.
Fuck, this movie is just
nice.
wiping the floor. I like it.
Everyone's going to see it.
I mean, obviously superhero movies are still really big, but
they're getting fatigued. Not to the point where they're not popular. They're still making.
I think most of the time they're a lot of fun. But I think the thing is, audiences are saying we want more from cinema than just big superhero movies. We like big superhero movies, but we want more from them.
We want to be surprised.
Yeah, we want more. We want more than that. And by the way, Transformers doesn't count because those movies are just awful, other than the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the audiences around the world are saying. Is like we want movies with a little bit more going for them than just the superhero craze. And I think Jurassic World is like exactly. I mean, everyone loves Jurassic Park, whether or not they like the sequels or not. Everybody loves Jurassic Park, and I think the fact that a new Jurassic has finally come into the arena, I think everyone is just like, oh, thank God. I've wanted a new movie like this, and it's a whole lot of fun. The movie, you just cannot watch it without having a huge smile on your face. I've seen a lot of people that are on message boards that saw the trailers and they're like, yeah, this movie's gonna be horrible, and they went to see it anyways, and they came back and they're like, well, I was wrong. They're like, It was different than what I expected a Jurassic Park movie to be, which I totally agree and resonate with. But it was a ton of fucking fun. They're like, it was cheesy at times, but it wasn't bad cheesy. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was like kind of that Indiana Jones type of cheese, in my opinion.
Some of it worked really well. Other humor aspects didn't really fit well with me. But I think you're right there. Like, it does at points feel like a Jurassic Park movie, but it's gone in a completely new direction, and it's all. I understand exactly why they've done that. They really needed to, because the franchise was not fresh anymore. They needed to do something fresh and send it in a way that the further sequels would actually make sense. More sense than JP3 anyway. Not to bash JP3. It's just how do we get people on an island? Oh, I don't know. We just take them there on a plane. Like there was no reason for them to be there.
Yeah, there was just it was really like, how do we get Grant involved again? And it was basically like, well, we kind of kidnap him. And
it was just weird. But Jurassic World kind of feels like a Jurassic Park movie. At least the first, it just feels a bit different. It just has this different feel to it, and that's the way the franchise
it's more
is
of
going.
a pulpy type of adventure movie. It's got that more of that pulpy, like Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you take Indiana Jones movies, they're fantastic, but they do a lot of really cheesy things, but they don't come off as cheesy. It just works. And I feel like Jurassic World does the same thing. I had my differences with, like, a scene or two, and I think in out of context, most of the scenes worked. I think that maybe there were too many little one-offs with comedy, and some scenes there should have been some breathing room for some scenes. A few scenes should have been a little bit longer, a little bit slower, a little bit more intimate.
Definitely, 100% agree.
But I think it was overall very, very good. I think it is, like, if there's one thing that I felt was missing, is it just needed to take a break at a point, and we should have had a chance. And
dude, that's what I was saying about this. When they should have spent a night in the old park, because it could have slowed the movie right down, and then we finally get to see more of the original park. Now, should we talk about the visitor center? Unless we already have.
I think we did. How we talked. I think that you mentioned it. The fact that you couldn't tell that it was very hard to tell it was a visitor center. Like, we obviously
I love
knew.
the fact that I love the fact that they went back there. It was everyone wants that, but there wasn't really any wide shots. You couldn't like you said, you can't really sync it up in your head that it's the original visitor center.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, they're at the Jeeps in the maintenance shed around the back or wherever that was. So I was a little like, it didn't get its
probably
its
never
time
going to
screen.
go there again. So I think it should have had a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
Or at least
it did the right thing,
or visually been more recognizable.
Yeah, it was too overgrown, and also, when there's a funny point when the Indominus comes out and then smashes its way into the visitor center. I genuinely was like, "Don't you fucking touch the visitor center!" I was like, "Don't you damage it!
Yeah,
don't touch it!"
I was like, "No, you don't." And I'm kind of like wondering, like, is the rest of it intact? Like the control room and the
there's no reason why.
Like the kitchen. Like, I really do wonder what else is inside the visitor center.
There's no reason why it wouldn't be there, and why it wouldn't. If they clearly left the visitor center, they left all that stuff. I assume the Masrani people went there. They saw it. They decided, well, let's leave. We'll leave.
Yeah, it wasn't
because they constantly kept referring to the old park. They knew it was there.
Yeah.
Maybe they just left it because it was easier to leave than it was to.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's even like that. And like, if you go to Disney World, there are parts of Disney World that are just like abandoned and overtaken by jungle. Like, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's like an old water park resort that they just kind of
there is,
closed.
dude. It's scary.
And it's overtaken.
Dude,
it's overtaken by the
cool
swamps and jungles now and everything like that. And sometimes people sneak in there, and it's just like it's completely overgrown. It's completely forgotten, and people are like, "Oh, why would you tear it?" You know, there's no reason to tear it down. They still own the land. Nobody goes there, and it would just cost money, and it's not in their way right now. And that's the same thing with like the ruins of Jurassic Park. There were only a few select buildings, and obviously it's not where they decided to build the new park, so it just wasn't in their way.
Yeah, definitely. But I thought it was well done. It was just I wanted to see more of it, and that's where you could have got the pacing for the movie, like I said. But it was a cool sequence, and the whole Jeep driving bit was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it was good fun,
and it made sense at first. It's like, how did they get it to start? But then you see that they use the battery from the what was that? The little what the hell was that little vehicle that got taken up by the Indominus?
Yeah, the
what was that?
The buggy,
like the little golf cart buggy thing.
Where did that come from?
Yeah. Also, what was that doing in that area?
I think it was probably one of the ACU guys was driving it.
But what?
So close to the old park, though. I don't think they were as close as they thought.
I think that they were just probably maybe going out there and looking around, or maybe that guy got chased by the Indominus and thought he gave it the slip, and then it got taken out there.
Maybe. It's just like, hang on, why is ACU or why is whoever visiting the old park? I thought it was a bit strange. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was that far from the fence. I think at this point, and if what you say is true, if the Indominus paddock is out in the old park, there might be a maintenance road that runs right by the old park, but people might be like, and there's the ruins, let me get a selfie by it, and then kind of go on about their day.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to assume that the old park is actually safe and doesn't have wild animals, then which is why I'm really confused. So when they go in, so you're telling me that the Indominus paddock is in the restricted zone. So
it
when
looked like it based on the thing.
Yeah, it is. It's left of the volcano.
So why, when Nick and Ty, when Gray and Zach, I should say, when they find the fence, when they're in the gyrosphere ride and they find the fence bashed in, it's not bashed in from inside the restricted zone going out to them. It's breaking into the restricted zone.
Yeah.
What?
Indominus can jump? I don't know.
So the Indominus jumped over the fence and then broke back into it?
No, I was joking. I just mean
like,
that maybe it bashed its way through and then maybe it bashed its way back out. I don't know.
It's weird to me because
that didn't make sense to me either.
It's something broke into the restricted zone, not out of it.
Well, remember when it first breaks out, and then Lowry and the people in the control room are looking at the monitor, and you can see like the little red dots where the thing's been. It's been from the visitor center moving down towards the center, right? Moving from the restricted zone down to where the resort area is.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I assumed. That's where.
No, what I'm saying is, so when Zach and Gray, when they discover the fence, when they're in the gyrosphere and they discover the fence is bashed into the restricted zone, not out of the restricted zone. The fence is bashed inwards.
I got that.
So if the Indominus broke out of the restricted zone, why is the fence? What bashed the fence in?
Yeah, I agree. I'm stumped. I would kind of just assume that
is you can't say, oh, maybe it was the ankylosaurus, because I saw like claw marks and scratches on it.
There were claw marks, yes.
Yeah, so that makes me
maybe it broke in at one point that we didn't see,
and then broke
through another part of the fence, and then broke back out.
I mean, I guess that could make sense. I wonder what it was doing, and then just
having a look.
It's like,
sup, guys?
It's like, I have no idea what. It's like,
I like how it opened the fence up, but it opened the fence up, but none of those dinosaurs gave a shit.
Like, okay, so
they were happy with where they were.
Do ankylosaurs, do they live out in the restricted zone, or do they just take advantage?
Yeah, that's another thing. That was weird.
Because I think so too, because they got really close to the gyrosphere without getting that little shock thing. I don't know. Isn't it like some invisible tech? I don't know how they did that, but I assume they were just some wild animal.
So there's wild animals in the restricted zone. So is it just like living on an island with these? I mean, obviously, I guess there wouldn't be velociraptors out there. No one in their right mind would go out into the restricted zone if there were like wild velociraptors out there.
No, we were all hoping for it,
unless there's multiple layers to the restricted zone that the park map doesn't really show us, but maybe there's like another perimeter fence, and maybe they're like, don't go in the north of the island, it's intense out there. You know, like maybe there's another fence.
Just a quick one. I was just because I just saw a picture of the helipad that was built. Obviously, I was wondering when they were building this helipad, and then we saw them filming on it. You remember it was all just the wooden.
Yeah.
And then I was like, are they going to leave it like that, or are they going to fill that in post? And obviously, in the movie, they fill it in.
Yeah.
With like so much, it looks so grander than what they built. But obviously, they built what they needed.
Yeah,
to.
Exactly. It's almost too bad though they made the view the park, because the helipad had genuinely what was such a gorgeous view, and I think the movie didn't take advantage of Hawaii enough. I don't think that we got as many amazing vistas.
Oh, I think we got a ton of that.
I don't know. I think most of the vistas that we got
totally
were
okay. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
I think most of them that we got were actually ones that are already established in Jurassic Park.
I'm okay with that.
No, I'm okay with it. I just think that maybe, like, I just think when we saw where the helipad filmed, I'm like, God, that's gorgeous. And it would have been cool to see something like that in the movie, because we immediately almost hit like the wooded jungles, and we never got to see, like, I don't think that we got to see the valley in its full glory, like where the gyrosphere was. I don't think we got to see a complete wide shot of just how beautiful and real that valley is. I would have liked to see that, like,
definitely
before we got up close to the dinosaurs. I would have liked to maybe see them lumbering in the distance, just, you know, Apatosaurus eating from trees, which, by the way, the Apatosaurus really resonated for me more in the VR demo than it did in the movie.
You lucky bastard.
The
Talk
VR
about this.
demo,
Talk
yeah,
about
that
it.
was
yeah. So they had it at the premiere after party, and I hopped in line for that thing and did it, and it was just insane. God, it was gorgeous, and I love just the animal.
Explain. Tell us.
Is it? Oh, hang on, Chris. Is it real footage? Is it like the whole environment CG?
The environment is all real. They went out there with cameras.
Okay, I thought so.
Even,
so they,
including the Jurassic Park.
So they
Jeep,
got.
It's all real.
Oh God!
You can turn completely around. You can look up, down, everything like that. A pteranodon flies over if you look up at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So yeah, you're sitting there, like, it looks like you're sitting on a log, and you're looking at this sleeping Apatosaurus, which, by the way, looks 1,000 times better than it does in the movie, because it doesn't have the color correction, so it has a lot more variation in its color, and it looks a lot more animalistic. And she's sleeping by her nest, which is just absolutely gorgeous, and it really, like, it hits that animal feel. I think in the movie, like, we never get to spend enough time with any of the animals, and in this, it just takes its good old time, and it feels like a genuine, like, feels very Jurassic Park. And yeah, and then she wakes up, and she looks at you, and she kind of lumbers up over, and it goes right into your face, like, she's, like, looking like she's sniffing you. She looks at you, she sniffs you, she turns her eye to look at you in the eye, and then she jumps up like the Brachiosaurus to grab leaves from the tree, and lands, like, her feet come, like, right down, nearly on top of you, and then she kind of, like, her tail kind of whips over your head, and then she kind of goes back and lies down with her nest again. And it was just such
I would have started crying.
Oh, it's such a really cool experience. They plan on everyone being able to see it, so I expect it to somehow make its way out.
I'd buy an Oculus just for that.
I mean, even though it was real footage, it wasn't, you know, an environment. I really hope they translate something like this into a video game. I'm so annoyed that we haven't heard anything from E3.
No, Jack. After well, not this year, maybe next year, because after the hit that was Jurassic World, companies are going to be like, yo, dinosaurs are back in, let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I know, but obviously I don't just want a generic one. I want a Jurassic
Park game.
And I think if they don't do a Jurassic World, well, they're not going to do a tie-in, but if they don't do something that's specifically Jurassic World, maybe we'll get something that in a year or two that's just so perfect as a Jurassic Park game. You know, something that is maybe even not set on.
I don't want a park builder. I don't want that again.
No, not a park builder. I mean, I would totally take Jurassic World Operation Genesis, but I want to.
No, we don't really have enough. No, I mean, I would like another one, but that's not. I want another one of those, but I want more than that.
I want a story-based game, survival, horror, like Alien Isolation. That's the dream game.
That would be 100%. Very cool. Actually, though, the VR game, it almost reminds me of maybe they realized that an open park is such an amazing concept, and the movie barely taps into it. So maybe if there is a VR game coming, maybe there'll be a chance to actually explore Jurassic World, like the park. Like if you were a visitor before things went to hell, maybe that's what that concept is about. Maybe it's about going there.
I would throw so much money at Universal for that.
Like, you know, obviously that park doesn't actually exist in real life, so maybe that VR experience, maybe it's eventually going to give us a chance to go to Isla Nublar and Jurassic World and explore Main Street and explore the animals in their exhibits and, you know, go into the gift shop and everything, you know, go all these places and really see it and explore it, because to me that's incredibly exciting.
I think it really needs to happen. I do hope we hear something soon. And yeah, Jurassic World has broken records, so it's I'm fingers crossed. It's likely we will actually begin to hear about a video game.
How long do you think it is until they officially announce a sequel? Because I mean, they all keep talking about it. Like,
this week, guaranteed this week.
I would be surprised if they don't do it this week. I mean, they just announced a Pitch Perfect sequel.
Friday. Promise you. Watch this. Write it down, kids. Write it down. Friday.
I don't know. I you know, Frank Marshall said in an interview with Slash Film that he's going off to for a lunch meeting with Universal and Colin to discuss the sequel. So yeah, it's Universal are going to want to announce this ASAP.
Yeah, they're not beating around the bush. They're not like, sequel, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, we're beating about it, we're talking about it, we have plans for it. But I mean, I wonder how long it's going to be until like Universal's like Jurassic World 2, which is what they'll tentatively call it until they give it a title.
Yeah.
And they'll probably give it a date, a tentative date.
And then we'll be starting this whole...
And we're gonna jump right back into what we've been doing, because they're not going to waste time or spare any expense in making this movie.
Yeah, they're not going to pull a Godzilla. They're not waiting 4 years. They're going to go
hey guys, June 8th, 2017.
June 8th, you think?
That'd be okay.
I'm just looking. It's a Thursday, and it's around that date. I'm just judging by, you know, maybe June 8th, June 9th, or, you know, they'll do June 15th, June 16th. But I'm just going by, they clearly like to release on Thursdays.
Yeah. Well,
June 8th, 2017.
I think.
Which, although actually that's not enough time.
Well, I think we need to assume that they're probably, even though they're not telling us, I think we need to assume that they're probably working on a story right now, and that they might even be meeting with directors and everything along those lines. I mean, I
think Colin said that in the podcast.
Yeah, Spanish. What's up with the Spanish director?
You listened to that podcast?
I haven't listened. I haven't listened to any of these. So
I listened to half of it.
So what was being said?
Good question. Hang on, give me a second to regroup my thoughts. What happens? Let's talk about the movie in general. Like, there was I'll just start listing off things I remember. In one of the drafts, Owen and Claire stumble upon a Stegoceratops in the wild, indicating that Wu was, like, making some hybrids under their nose or something like that.
I'm glad that got...
It would have worked, but I'm glad we didn't.
I'm glad that got cut.
The shit scene.
I would have been like, how the hell did Claire not realize there was how did people not realize there was a Stegoceratops on the island? Would have been my question.
Oh yeah, they cut it. I think he said he cut it because it made the Indominus Rex feel special, because his son watched Return of the Jedi the other day, or something like that, and then his son said, if Leia is a Force user, that means Luke is not unique anymore. So Colin didn't want the thing. They wanted the Indominus Rex to feel unique in a way, so he cut off the Stegoceratops, I guess.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. I'm glad the Stegoceratops wasn't in it.
Yeah. Shit scene was cut out because it was in the middle of a high tense situation. They didn't want to take away from that, I guess.
I think there were too many comedic breaks.
Yeah. there was a lot of walking scenes cut out. One scene where Nick and Zach and Gray were climbing like a mountain thing before they got to the visitor center. I think they were talking, building character and stuff. Gray was getting pissed off. He threw his bracelet. Yeah, he threw his bracelet. They shared a moment. They broke out a chocolate bar, broke it in half, shared it, that type of stuff.
They should have shown.
Yeah, I think that would have been. I think those are the type of scenes that Jurassic World needed a little bit more of. Not necessarily with the kids, but I wouldn't have minded it with the kids, who, by the way, I thought were great. A lot of people are like, the kids shouldn't have been in the movie, but I thought they were actually really good.
No, they were fine, especially Nick. I was really surprised.
One sec.
I'd seen him in Kings of the Summer. He was really good. Go on.
All right, we're back. That was cool.
What?
Did we go anywhere?
What happened? My thing cut out.
Oh,
okay. What? No.
Oh
okay.
Shit. My bad.
So was anything else said in the interview?
Did we go anywhere?
Oops. That's a good question. I only got halfway in, so I don't know. Not even halfway, like 30, 40 minutes in.
I need to listen to it, but yeah, I think they discuss sequels and
he keeps mentioning something about a Spanish horror director. He wants to see one of those guys make a Jurassic Park movie.
Does he mean Guillermo del Toro?
No, I don't think so. That's too big.
No, too big, and
it's definitely the guy from Mama. There's no one else.
What's his name? I was saying this to you before. Asees. Mama was.
But the short film. Did you see the short film?
The short film was insane. So I was very excited for the. Yeah, but the second half. I blame the
studio interference for the movie that we got.
It just sucked hands down. It was so bad.
No, it was good.
It ruined the first half.
It was. I blame the studio and the writers. It wasn't the director. The director did like that short film, and that was fucking scary as shit, right?
So Andres
Muschietti or something like that.
And he's as director has been announced, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, man. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
That won't happen. There's no way.
Never mind.
Chris knows what's up.
Literally, his last film was Mama, so maybe it's him.
I'd be happy with that.
He's
I liked
a Spanish director, right? So, but Mama wasn't a good film. I was
no,
really
but the short. Don't look at the
Look
film.
at
I
know
film.
The short was awesome.
I need to see the short. I haven't seen the short
dude,
yet.
it's scary.
I've seen Mama, but there are a lot of interesting directors out there that I would like to see, that I could really see taking on Jurassic in the right way. I think it's hard to say who I want because I don't know the exact direction they're going with the sequel, but I assume it's going to be to set up.
Shit!
Yeah, go on.
Speaking of sequels, sorry, Chris. Speaking of sequels, in the Empire podcast, Colin speaks about how, if you go into a jungle, you can have a chance to be attacked by lions and stuff like that. He said replace that with a raptor or something. He wants to see that type of thing.
Yeah,
where raptors or dinosaurs are being open source now.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
you've got raptors, but the world has accepted that you don't go into that jungle because there are raptors.
Yeah,
there. I think that's almost like a coexist. I think that's. Really
I think that's the exact way the sequel needs to go. And I think that there's also
true Jurassic World.
Yeah, but I also think there's still potential for scientific, if not park. I think there's still potential for research facilities, or maybe InGen has different facilities, or another company has facilities with animals that are more, located in higher quantities there. I think that there's a lot of different ways that they could play with it. Because while Jurassic World might be the only park in the world, God knows what other facilities InGen has animals on. Or not InGen, maybe Mizrani. There is almost certainly other outposts and facilities for studies located globally.
I'm looking at some Spanish director horror movie things, and there's a lot of highly praised movies. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to be another smaller time director like Colin was.
Yeah, it really could be. But at this point, the movie, they might go to somebody who's a little bit more established as well. But I still think Guillermo del Toro could be a.
I don't want him. No.
Well, I don't want Pacific Rim Guillermo del Toro because that movie is so overrated. But I want Pan's Labyrinth Guillermo del Toro because that movie is amazing and beautiful.
That's overrated, though, isn't it?
No, it is. Oh my God, Pan's Labyrinth, I cannot get over how good that movie is. Still, to this day, I love that movie. Is Jack gone?
Jack went. He has to go do something real quick.
Oh.
Looking at Rodrigo Cortez. He's done some interesting movies. He's a horror. I'm just gonna keep looking at Spanish horror directors in case that's like a hint or something. He's done Buried.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
I mean, do you think that Colin was talking just kind of random, like just?
No, because
or do you think
an interview?
That's his way of saying they're meeting with somebody?
I think they definitely have someone in mind. Colin has someone in mind for sure because he said he has someone in mind in one of the interviews to do with something slash film or something like that.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, he did say something about that. He said he said he had someone in mind. Obviously, didn't say who it was, which is interesting.
I expect an announcement sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they're fast tracking it, of course.
Which makes me a little bit worried, but I'm sure they'll be fine because look at the Dawn and War movies and stuff. They're 2 years apart.
I mean, the thing is, if they went into this movie with they obviously kind of have the direction that they want the sequels to go in, and as long as there's, getting Jurassic Park 4 was difficult because it's like, how do we do another movie? Because we need new characters. Why would people go to the island again? It never really set up a universe for Jurassic Park. So obviously the new park was a brilliant way to go. And now they've set that foundation for this global, takeover in a lot of ways. And Jack, when you were gone, what I was saying was, essentially, God knows what other facilities InGen has across the world. Obviously Jurassic World's the only park, but they might have little outposts and research facilities elsewhere where they're working with animals, maybe different, trying, experimenting on them, these different isolated facilities. So, there's a chance that while the animals might start to populate the Earth, there's still these areas of concentration that exist for one reason or another, and they might be secret from the public, which might be the inciting incident to start these animals, basically to allow dinosaurs to become reintegrated with the ecosystem, essentially.
Yeah, no, I think that's where we see it going. I just hope it keeps it like a small story and it doesn't go all military. None of us want that.
No, none of us want that. I mean, it's obviously, that's a good reason, though. I think the military subplot is a good way to say, oh, this is a good reason for InGen to have these secret research facilities with animals, and this is basically a good reason why they would still continue to be funded. That lays the groundwork for secrecy and more. Basically, even if the park closes, it lays the groundwork for animals to be continued to be worked with. Now, as long as they don't actually show us raptor bomb squads, whether or not that's what they want or not, as long as we don't actually see that, okay, cool. Basically, it's just in a lot of ways, I feel like the military is the inciting incident that gets the animals off the island. That kind of.
Yeah, to a point. I am worried about the sequel. I'm worried about where it will go. But it's nice that they're talking about it so soon, because obviously 14 years was a long time.
I said this on Twitter, though. I could really see them. I could see Wu, if he was really still interested in working with raptors, I could see him basically introducing some of the Indominus Rex traits into the Velociraptors, particularly camouflage.
Yeah, but it's not something I want to see. I don't want to see more genetic modifications. I know that's probably where the franchise is going. I'm not.
I don't know. I mean, I can handle Velociraptors that looked exactly like the Velociraptors we know and love, but they can camouflage. I can handle that. I think camouflage is somewhere. I think that hits that right note, especially because this movie barely touched on it. We got one scene with it, and after anticipating that for years because it was in the book The Lost World Jurassic Park, I don't feel fulfilled with that concept.
Yeah. Hey, just a quick one. But we were talking about deleted scenes and stuff they filmed. We know that they filmed park guests running on the pier. But where was that in the movie?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, dude, like a lot of it, like real tours. There's a lot of that, like they filmed 2 big scenes on the piers, people walking into the park, getting off the ferry, and then the complete reverse where everybody's running and screaming and being
They
attacked.
must have had a scene. They must have had a scene where people like run into the ferry to get off the island while pteranodons were attacking.
Yeah,
which would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of scenes were cut in this movie. Like I know Colin talked mainly about the sequence of the boys walking through the old park, like getting to the visitor center. But why I think he's talking about that one the most is because I think it made it the closest to final cut, to like the final edition of the film. Like it was probably a very late removal, but obviously a lot of scenes were cut because I mean if you look at the website and the production material that we've seen, there are quite a few sequences that if you're really paying attention to the finer details, you can recognize quite a few. Not like sequences that don't exist in the movie at all, but extensions to sequences. Like you said, the Pteranodon attack. Especially the Pteranodon attack. And I think the exploration of the park before everything goes to hell. I think those were 2 areas that were greatly trimmed down.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
But maybe I don't know, pacing, it's just maybe it made more sense.
Yeah.
But I really hope we see a lot of... I hope we see everything that was deleted on the Blu-ray.
Well,
Colin said the Blu-ray is full. He said at points you can even click a button and he'll pop up and run you through whatever's going down.
I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the Blu-ray's going to be like really, if the Blu-ray's really going to integrate like that second screen type of experience that like the Harry Potter Blu-rays did, that I would be very happy with that. I think Trailer Park's doing the Blu-ray, but I might be wrong. You know what?
Well, I hope so. I hope it's full, and I don't think we're going to get it, but I hope we get a documentary that covers the past 14 years. I want to know the other concepts. I want to know what the Laura Dern script was.
Guys, don't we know people who can get us that? Or Chris, do you
maybe
know anyone?
now that the movie's out?
Let's go get it.
We all have a couple of people we can speak to.
Get this. I mean,
it's all about it. We need to get in those.
There's a chance that this. I mean, I don't know. There's a chance that those script traders might be a little less tight with these scripts now that the movie's out there.
It's been 14 years. I'm sure they'll let us have it now. We'll give them like $5 and they can go buy themselves a soda pop.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Did it leak? Do we know if anybody? I've never heard of anyone. Nobody's ever talked about those older scripts, though. The only one that anyone's ever talked about is the John Sayles one. So,
yeah, it must.
Where
be
did that
somewhere.
script come from, though? It came up online one day, didn't it?
I think it came back to IMDb. Somebody posted on the forum. Here's a script I have. And then it just went from there. It went everywhere. I shared it to hundreds of people.
Yeah,
I love that
people
script.
emailed.
I love it so much. It's such fun reads.
It's a great script. It's a great script. It's not Jurassic Park.
Not Jurassic Park at all, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's Jurassic World 2 now.
No.
I see them going down that route. Militarized velociraptors? Fuck yes, give me it. I want it.
No.
I want it.
That's not what I want, man.
Give it to
Come
me.
on.
Give it to me.
See, sometimes I feel like the things you say you want from Jurassic Park are so contrasting to then what you say like another time.
It's because I don't know what I want.
I feel like
I don't know what I want.
I think at one moment you're telling us you want one thing, and the next moment you're telling us it's the exact opposite thing you want. I'm like, I don't know what you want from this movie.
Listen, if it's I want militarized philosophy. Look, they've been using animals for warfare since since the Greek times, elephants and shit. Not the Greeks.
Well, yeah, but
this is no different.
Elephants were used before we had tanks. Now we kind of stick with dogs and in some cases dolphins, essentially.
Exactly, like dogs. What's smarter than a dog? A raptor. Make it small. Make it get in there and fuck people up.
No, don't change it. I don't want the raptors to be different. That's the thing. I don't want them to.
Well, you can have a
change.
different flavor of velociraptor. You can have a military velociraptor.
I don't want a military. God, military movies populate Hollywood. I don't want a military movie. That's just so.
It'll make so much money.
But I don't care about how much money it makes.
so.
I'm about the story, and I don't want an Americanized gung ho hoorah, Raptor America. No, thank you.
Well, that's what Chris Pratt was.
Why
was he a Navy?
Leave Transformers to the military. Now, leave Transformers to all the military pandering. I know, I'm fine with him being a Navy guy. I'm fine with Hoskins being a military guy. I don't want...
Did we talk about Hoskins yet? He was a fucking clown.
He was great. I loved him.
He was so fun.
I liked him a lot.
It didn't work. He was too over the top.
No, I liked him.
I loved it. I thought the way he was over the top, the way I said to this before we recorded, the way he bumbled around and was kind of just like really eccentric. But he was. I was saying he's a motherfucker. That's all he is, and he played it so well.
I loved him.
Speaking of Hoskins, in the the podcast.
Speaking of motherfuckers.
Yeah, speaking of motherfuckers, Colin talked about how that wolf pup scene he was talking about with Omar. It's a little bit extended. Yeah. He cut that bit out because essentially the wolf got put into a ring with his buddy's pit bull or something, and they fought, and then the wolf lost. I don't know, something like that. But they cut that part out.
I thought that was really cool. I really liked that aspect to his character, and that was a great little backstory without being like, here's a backstory for the character. It was very. It fit.
Yeah, I mean, you felt like Hoskins was just like an asshole who really didn't like have any perspective. But I was saying this, what I really appreciate about Hoskins is he never went into the villain thing. Like, he obviously, it's like, it was, in his mind, it's my way or the highway, but he never threatened anybody. He was never like, well, if you're not
in his mind, he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, he never was like, well, if you're not with me, you're against me. Like, he never threatened anybody. He was just
essentially, he wanted to stop,
he was like, I'm going to do this whether or not life. Yeah, I'm going to do this whether or not you're with me or not. So but he never like threatened Owen or Claire or them like, oh, and if you get in my way... His motives
were right.
He never did that, oh, you'll regret it if you get in my way. Even at the end of the movie, he wasn't threatening them. He's just basically like, oh, it's above your pay grade, so sorry, I'm going to do this whether you like it or not. You should probably get off the island because dinosaurs are everywhere. Like, that was basically the extent of what he was saying. Like, obviously...
He had his mission and he did it. Yeah, he's not a bad person. But he was just too over the top. Like,
I don't think he was a good person. I just don't think he obviously wasn't, like, threatening to, like, murder them if they try to get in his way. I think that he... I think he got what was coming for him.
That death scene was so good. I love it.
But, yeah, I think that was a death scene that was rewarding. Too bad the coolest kill in the movie leaves you feeling horrible.
Why? I felt fine. I don't care. Dinosaurs don't care if you're a good guy or bad guy. They do what they do, man. Sometimes good people die.
That's not what I'm saying. Good people obviously die. The death scene just left me feeling horrible. It was really hard to watch. And what rubbed me the wrong way, though, is nobody even asked what happened. Like, no one was like, so what happened to Zara? I think that the fact that the movie just glossed over what was that never happened with Eddie's death or anybody, anyone else's death that's like that. It's always been at least mentioned a little bit. I think it was just weird that like after Zara gets brutally murdered, eaten by dinosaurs in front of the kids, they're back to going.
Kids didn't give a fuck.
Kids are like, Aunt Claire, your boyfriend's awesome. All they needed was like a line like, where's Zara? And all you had to do was just have like Zach shake his head, just kind of like look horrified and shake his head, and then just kind of have Claire kind of subtly react, like hold back her reaction type of thing. And I think that's all the movie really needed there. The fact that like it never touched, it showed us this crazy character death, but it never went anywhere at all. Like nobody inquired about it. I think that was my one issue with it. But also, it was hard to watch. That was a hard to watch scene. I mean, she was
she got wrecked.
That was just horrifying. That was absolutely horrifying. Jack, are you with us? Oh, yeah. Okay. He just got quiet again. Because the last time I was like, "Is Jack here?" And he's like, "Nah, he's gone."
Yeah. No, I'm here.
Man, my house is so loud today. Fucking parents are leaving. My dog is barking at people outside.
Where are they going?
They're going to some wedding in Panama or something. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
No, they're not taking me. It's not cool.
Well, when are you coming to the UK?
Oh yeah, apparently we're coming in August now.
Okay, I'll be there. I'll be in London in August at some stage.
Oh, that's good. We'll meet up.
You should come to my house. Where my housemate? No, one of my friends is likely going to be moving out of his flat in August. Always have great pies there.
Oh, Jack, yeah, I'm coming.
All right.
Yeah, please.
You should swing by and pick me up. Throw me in your suitcase.
Why do we have to?
Well,
plan
I was
something,
thinking
boys.
about this the other day. We've got to all go to somewhere in the States together, or to Asees' mansion in Canada.
It's not a
It's gotta
mansion.
happen.
We can,
When
we
the-
can just
for,
hang
like,
out
when
in
the
your
Blu-ray's out
bathroom.
or
That's probably
something.
like bigger than my house, apparently.
Yeah, well, he has servants in his bathroom specifically. But no, we should do. I was thinking about this the other day. We should do a commentary for all the JP.
That would be.
But
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like our podcast. But it's a commentary that you can sync up to your copy of the film. I think it'd be a really nice idea, and we could probably just drink through
Yeah.
it, because then
Yeah, like-
by the time we hit JP3, we'll be beyond any like forming a sentence, and it'll just be grand. It'll just be. I think it'd be a really fun idea.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Anytime. School will be done by
Yeah.
August, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'll be just sitting around.
Yeah.
We should try and figure it out for at some point.
No, I love that idea. So this is definitely something we need to talk about.
Maybe we could do it for when the site and everything, when we progress.
Progress.
Maybe it's something we use with the
To
new.
push the new site.
Sorry?
What?
I don't know. What?
No, I couldn't. It broke up when you said whatever it was you said.
Oh, I didn't say much. Don't worry. Continue. Keep going, Jack.
No, I just mean when we move the site forward into
A whole new world.
to start covering the next a whole new world. I think if we have a lot of content like that, like a commentary for each of the films, I think it helps. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a really good idea, and if we're all together, it would just be so much
Yeah,
better.
no.
Doing a commentary on Skype.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Hey, we need to get together and actually do something in person. Like,
I shall spearhead this competition, or not competition. I shall spearhead this movement and then make it happen.
Yeah, I think us three. I think it'd be really funny. I think it'd be, and I think it's necessary as
It'd
well.
be chaotic as fuck.
We've talked for what seems like so long online, and we've Skyped a lot.
Yeah.
It's been like a year.
It's,
2
it's time
years.
to meet. It's time to
Yeah, no, I can't believe that we haven't had a chance to meet yet. Especially because, I ended up meeting so many people when I was, I didn't expect that at all to happen, that whole LA trip, but, I met a lot of people, and I still can't believe that we haven't met.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It is a true shame.
But
when we do meet, we'll make the most.
Oh
of it.
no, it'll be a ton of fun. Which
I'm gonna go to Universal Hollywood. I'm gonna go see that again.
No, wait, hold on. Let me tell you this: if we all hang out, we go to Universal, not Hollywood.
No, like Universal Studios Hollywood.
No. Universal Studios Hollywood. No. Let's go to the Florida one. Trust me, it's
Island of Adventures. I've
Yeah.
been to both. Yeah, Adventures is fun.
Yeah, Adventure is way better. There's a lot more to do there. The Jurassic Park ride's better. Because that's what so after I went to the premiere, I decided I'll go to Universal Studios Hollywood. I did the park in a day. And
Yeah, it's very neglected, that park. Why
Yeah.
is the Florida one bigger?
the Florida ones, because Florida, even with Disney, the
massive.
Florida one's way bigger.
Yeah, it's a two-part thing.
So,
They have
yeah,
the studios
if-
and then the Island of Adventures.
If we wanted
Oh
to,
man, it was so fun when I went there.
realistically though, if we wanted to do something like that, we should definitely make it the Florida park, because it's just so much fun.
That's a good point. But Florida sucks.
At least
It's better than LA, though.
better than LA. Yeah.
LA was fun when I went there for the first day and a half, and I was like, this place is a mess.
Yeah,
It's
that's
scary too. I didn't feel safe.
That's the exact feeling I got. Other than the super super rich areas, I basically
Beverly Hills and shit?
Yeah, everything else just I was like, this is interesting. Jack, you probably know LA very well from Grand Theft Auto, since you love Grand Theft Auto so much.
Yeah, man. I really want to go. I know it can be a sketchy place, but obviously I still want to go and want to pursuing a career in.
Oh yeah, I would
very
absolutely
relevant.
move there for a job. But a lot of people are like, "Oh man, LA is the best place I've ever been to," and you've really got to be a big city person to love LA. I think. There are areas of it that I thought were fantastic.
Yeah.
But some cities you go to and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you don't want to go in that area. That's a bad area."
Yeah.
In LA, it felt like, "Oh, by the way, you want to go to that area. That's a good area."
Wow.
It seems really run down for such a big city.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, it just. I mean, I didn't dislike LA. I just like it was a different experience than what I expected.
Fair enough.
Which, by the way, it was an amazing experience.
Should we talk about this for a bit? Let's talk about that. Go, Chris.
I got to go to the Jurassic World premiere in LA and the after party, which was really, really awesome.
That's it?
Yeah, I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I think what I really took away from the experience was I was so happy and impressed by how passionate the team who was working on Jurassic World really is. And I'm talking, obviously, Colin and Derek Connolly, who wrote the script with Colin. They're incredibly, incredibly genuine and passionate, and that really, really read. But same with the marketing team at Universal and everyone there. They really, I mean, you know, like a lot of times people say, oh, they're really fans, or like, you know, they'll say like, oh, I'm a fan also, and you go, but are you really? But no, these guys absolutely were, and I really walked away with the impression that Jurassic World is in good hands. And I think especially after the huge global box office success, I think it will be given the proper love and care that it needs.
I'm just so shocked. I'm just shocked that I don't even know. I can't even form words right now. That's how shocked I am. Jurassic World is... I don't understand. How did this happen? We got the movie we've waited for 14 years, and then it's just...
And it's dominated.
Yeah, everyone wants to see it. It's amazing. I thought maybe...
Yeah, it's great.
Maybe
I feel really happy
tops,
about
I
that.
don't know. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm just really proud of them.
Yeah, I think that it's... I mean, the future is bright. It's basically, you know, obviously, like, you know, with things that didn't turn out that good, like the toys, I think the future is very bright now.
Oh, Hasbro.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I honestly don't know what happened with those toys. Like, I really...
I can happily say I have no objections to talking about how terrible the toy line is.
At least the Lego was nice.
You know, it's just so...
There are a few gems in the toy line. Like, Blue is a really good Raptor.
I have Blue. It's
the
amazing.
Indominus is great.
Are you talking about the big Indominus or the Gyrosphere Attack one?
The big...
I am kind of mixed with that one. I do like the size. It feels very Jurassic Park. But the Gyrosphere Attack one looks really nice.
Yeah, I've not actually seen any of them face to face.
Yeah, and
I'm talking about obviously what I've just
the Ankylosaurus Bastion Bite is really, really nice.
I agree with this. I love that one too.
And then the Ceratosaurus and Dilophosaurus are really nice. The Dimorphodon's pretty cool as well, but it doesn't feel fully fleshed out, and it doesn't look like the one from the movie that much. I think it would have been a lot better if it had if they would have really focused on those big teeth. But the toys just felt very half baked, and I felt like a lot of them didn't feel like they were made with like passion. And plus, you can tell they really worked with 3D models rather than like sculpting them, because like the 3 T-Rexes that are coming out, you can share the same base model. The teeth placement is exactly the same and just as goofy on each of them.
That ugly jaw. The ugly fucking jaw.
Yeah. So, like, the Hasbro line really, it felt like a lot of it was phoned in. But it does a lot of really cool things. The sculpts aren't that good, but what really hurts them is the production quality on the paint job.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, do you think now we have a strong chance of getting a good line, or do you think it just means that for the next film they'll do better?
I think, so here's the deal. This movie just shocked the box office. Now, kids are obviously going to be seeing this movie, and they're going to want toys, and I think that...
They're going to want
I think that demand is going to carry through, and I think even next spring, kids are going to want toys, and Hasbro is going to say, well, what do we put out then? And obviously they have a lot of those old unreleased molds, and we might see them dip into that a little bit. And they might say, you know what, we really missed the ball not putting out humans and vehicles, like an Owen Grady figure, and a Hamada, and a Claire, and a Mizrani, and a Wu, and
Said it from the start. Everyone wants that.
So they have those unproduced vehicles. So maybe they might go and sculpt these humans and put out those unproduced vehicles and maybe put out. I think we'll get a few repaints. I really see a camouflage Indominus coming out. And I think that we might get a few unreleased molds because I think that makes most sense right now rather than trying to sculpt these things. If they have unreleased molds sitting there ready, just because the dinosaurs didn't appear in the film doesn't mean they won't sell toys. And hell, they could create a backstory for the toys if they wanted to. It could be about the park when it was open, and it could be like, oh, and here's the Dilophosaurus. They could create like little backstories on the backs of the box and kind of create like a little prequel backstory that ties into the toys, which kids will love, and it will suck. It would suck collectors and hardcore fans into it because it helps expand the fiction in the universe and it gives fans something to digest in between movies, which is, in my opinion, an absolute necessity right now because when you build a franchise, you need to build the world, and there needs to be more going for it than just the movies. I think the toys, the books, there needs to be comics, there just needs to be more at this point. It's time to play the game.
Video games, man.
It's time to play the game for real.
It's, video games. And a toy line that's actually good. And, comics would be fun. I don't really...
I'm not into comics anymore, though.
I've never...
No, I don't
I've
read
never
them.
been a comic person, but if they did JP comics, but this time they're actually in canon, like expanded universe in canon, I would be very interested. Yeah. Because in the past, the comics have never been canon for Jurassic. They've always just done their own thing. But imagine if we got a comic that told the story of like Hamada, Hoskins, and Wu, and it also was like a prequel where we saw the park open, and we got to see more of the Raptors. Or then what if we got a one-off where we get to see what happened to Blue on the island after the end of the film? I think there's a lot of stories.
Why don't we do that?
That's always an option.
Like, fuck, I'm gonna work on something.
No, I mean, I totally agree. God, it would just be such a dream to work on the Jurassic franchise and help. I want to tell my own stories creatively, but if there's one franchise that I would like to hop in on and help shape and form, it's Jurassic.
I think it's all about it.
Yeah, I mean...
This is my life, man.
I want to see this franchise built. I want to be able to wow kids the way that I was wowed. I want them to come out and I want them to just look at the stories and the dinosaurs. I want their imagination to feel like the sky's the limit and just be invested and excited and surprised and just if I could just to help bring that to life.
That was deep, man. That was deep, sentimental. I'm crying here. Thanks.
To help bring that to life would just honestly be a dream, and I think Jurassic really needs to help. I think it really needs to build itself now as a franchise with a strong central canon, and I think there's so much untapped potential there, and there's so many different directions that it could go, and I don't think people really realize how many different directions that it can go, and I think that I really think that the future is bright, and I just hope that they really take a look into all these different directions that they can. There's so many stories to be told in so many different directions, and that is just so incredibly exciting for me because I honestly don't think there's a limit to what can be done.
No, I agree with you, and I really hope we see the story continued, the universe explored in a video game. And going back to that point, I really, really want a video game.
Yeah, you
whatever. That's
have you guys played the Lego game yet? That's actually really fucking good. It's really fun.
No, it's sitting behind me, man. I got the Amazon exclusive, which comes with a Doctor Wu minifigure or something
nice,
like that.
nice.
But I haven't played it yet. I haven't actually been home. I've just been at work, and then when I came home, we recorded a podcast.
Yeah, and I was in LA for a week actually, so. And just explored the town and met people, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't own the game. I'll probably have to sell some games to buy it.
Do it, man. You get to explore some parts of the park, man. It's fun. It's.
Have you played the Jurassic World part yet?
I've not. I've only played Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay. Because
that's a lot of fun. You get to see some some areas of scenes, like extended areas. It's really cool. It's really fun. If only they can do that in like a non-kiddie version. Oh my. Forget about it.
Dude, that's exactly, yeah. A game, a real game like that.
Yeah.
Would be good.
Well, I mean, Lego's a real game, but I know what you mean. Like, something...
Maybe, like, who could do it, though? Who can make a good Jurassic Park game? Because people have tried and they've fucked hard. Like Telltale.
The guys that made
they're a really
it?
good company, but they just missed it.
I think Telltale could still probably make a good Jurassic Park game, because their other games are a lot better, so I don't know what...
Oh, what happened with the was it Savage? It's not Savage Entertainment. That was the JP Survival. Who was the guys that?
Oh, something Vancouver that...
You know, the guys that shut down.
Yeah, we've never really been able to dig out any more information. All we know is it was an MMO.
No,
it was an MMO.
They obviously didn't reply to anything I sent them. It sucks because every time you search Jurassic World video game, it purely comes up with Lego. There's nothing else, you know.
Yeah.
Give it a year. Give it a year's time. We'll be hearing a lot.
Hopefully.
Dino Crisis will be back. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. No, I think Capcom's probably like, shit, we should have brought Dino Crisis back.
And it's so easy for them just to remaster number 1 or 2, or fucking both. I'd buy the shit out of that in 2 seconds.
You know, speaking of remasters...
Especially the first one, oh god.
No, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see the Sega Genesis, like the old platformers. Just give us a little HD, like, sharpening, like a retouch of the game. Like, nothing changed, just visually...
It'd be so easy for them to do that.
And release it on, like, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and PC and Wii U as, like a $20 package where it has, like, all of, like, maybe all the Sega Genesis games or something. I would love to be able to play that.
I promise you that.
I would love to be able to play that.
The entire entertainment scape will be different in 1 year. Dinosaur games being announced left and right.
And it helps that later this year there's Disney's The Good Dinosaur coming out, which, given I don't like the dinosaur designs that much, the cartooniness isn't... I'm fine with cartooniness, just the art style isn't quite doing it for me. It's too visually divorced when you look at the super realistic landscape and the very simple yet generic looking dinosaurs. But
kids will eat it up, I'm sure.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, as a kid, though, I wouldn't have loved it, especially because I grew up on, like, The Land Before Time. And those dinosaurs...
Did you guys like the dinosaur movie? Dinosaur, I think it's called?
Disney's Dinosaur?
With the Disney Dinosaur. Yeah, it was good, right?
I had fun with it. I didn't, like, love the movie, but I had a lot of fun with it as a kid. It's been so long since I've seen it.
I've only seen it once as a kid.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've seen it, and I was really excited for it, and I remember the movie wasn't quite what I expected, because I expected it to be more of, like, almost like Disney does a nature documentary, because I remember the first trailer was just dinosaurs in the wilderness, and they weren't talking.
When the Carnotaurus came out and chased the little thing?
The Carnotaurus always bothered me, because it just looked so weird.
Why?
Because it looked like...
It looked so cool.
It looked like a T-Rex to me. I don't know. It looked like it was too big. Carnotaurus, what makes it really unique is how athletically built the animal is. Plus, it has an incredibly long neck for a carnivorous dinosaur like that. And I felt like the Disney one didn't quite get those traits right for me. And that's even me as a kid speaking. You've got to understand. I knew and
you are the dinosaur expert.
I knew and know my dinosaurs, but I'm one of the few people that
I don't know anything about dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people that both love real dinosaurs, quote unquote, and Jurassic Park dinosaurs. Like, I still can't get over people that are like Jurassic Park, the T-Rex. I don't know. Whatever. I think some of the great, the better paleontologists have been able to fully, accept both. But some people, when they're like, no, the T-Rex has no place looking the way it does, I'm like, yeah, it does, especially because it's the first T-Rex. But also, that's such an iconic movie character, the look of the T-Rex, which, given they did change it in Jurassic World, and I didn't quite care for it. But,
it looked more like the Lost World T-Rex, didn't it? I don't know, that's just me. The head structure seemed like one of the boys or the girls, I can't remember. It didn't seem Jurassic Park, maybe Lost World, okay, fine.
Well, Lost World T-Rex...
Was that just me?
Lost World T-Rex, the bull T-Rex, the male, had a different head structure, but he was bigger, not smaller. And this one was like...
What are you eating?
Nothing. Nuts.
I swear you've been eating for the past, 2 hours.
I had a whole bag of nuts.
He loves the nuts in his mouth.
He does.
Who doesn't, though?
Sorry, I'm choking on these nuts.
No, man, I love... I love the Rex. I think she was done.
No, I don't know. I don't know, for whatever reason.
She's aged, man. She's gonna look slightly different.
And I'm fine with that. That's just not the way. Honestly, she looked more like a scientifically accurate T-Rex to me, like the way that she looks like on Discovery Channel documentaries.
No.
If you take that style and mix it with the Jurassic Park T-Rex, I feel like that's what we left with. Bless you.
Hey.
I know. I just didn't quite love the design. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It looked weird in some parts.
I thought it was fine, but I need a rewatch because it was
too short lived.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that really? I'm really bothered. I want to know what happened to the baby dinosaurs. Like, what are they doing right now?
Oh, you mean at the
petting zoo? Yeah. Like, did they like I kind of wanted a scene where you just kind of see them stumbling around, like lost, and then like a herd kind of adopts them in.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to believe happens. That they set them free in like the Gyrosphere Valley, and they unite with the herds. So, in my mind, that's what happened, and hopefully there's still some living apatosaurs to take the apatosaurs in, but you know, they'll find their way to the Great Valley.
I believe they will. That's a nice way to do it.
I've seen The Land Before Time. I know they can do it.
So, I mean, overall, I can't believe the journey has come to an end.
I honestly think it's just starting.
No, I mean, it's just the idea of Jurassic Park 4.
In a lot of ways, I feel like I didn't see Jurassic Park 4. I feel like I saw Jurassic World. Because, I mean, I said this, I love Jurassic World. But it was not the Jurassic Park 4 I ever expected.
I'm back.
But I didn't know you left.
You didn't know you'd gone, man.
What?
Yeah, no, I, once again, had no idea you were gone. I thought you were just being quiet.
What? That's key, then. That's key. That's important.
So, yeah, Chris, I know what you mean. I said this to Asees before. In some ways it was Jurassic Park 4, but in others it didn't feel like I'd watched JP4.
It's better this way. It's better this way. No, I think that this 100% was a better move. But in a lot of ways, Jurassic Park 4, I feel like we didn't see Jurassic Park 4. But I almost expect Jurassic World 2 to tonally and story-wise maybe hit the notes that we expect from Jurassic Park 4. If that makes sense. Because Jurassic Park 4...
Hang on, one sec, guys. What did we expect from Jurassic Park 4? I never actually asked you guys, what did you expect from a Jurassic Park 4 movie?
I don't even know. It's a mixture of so many different things.
Right. In my head, I always pictured, like, the ruins, going back to the ruins.
Yeah, definitely 100% new blood.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Sorna, too, mixed in. I always imagined Grant back for some reason. I don't know why. It's in my head. I pictured
because
that.
he was talked about for so long.
Yeah.
I never pictured a movie that was so huge.
This is so much better than anything I imagined, though.
No,
I never expected this something. This is amazing.
I fully agree.
It was the smartest way to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the smartest way to go. It had to be a franchise to continue and have films after this. It had to do something different, like we said at the beginning of this podcast. Because JP3, unfortunately, it didn't progress.
It's too small. It didn't really. Well, it kind of. It had that one throwaway line. That's the only thing it did, though.
What throwaway line?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
InGen's List.
Oh yeah,
that line's that was amazing. I love that line.
Well, okay, so let's look back at the timeline here. We know Mizrahi Global now owns InGen at that point. So I'd like to think that there was a Mizrahi outpost on Sorna at that time, and that's probably
so do I. In my head, every time I watch JP3, that's what I'm thinking. That Spino could have been Mizrahi for all we know.
Retroactively thinking, I believe that Spinosaurus was the precursor to cloning new dinosaurs for Jurassic World. I think that was... Yeah.
All of a sudden, JP3 is that much better now. I love it. Fuck, this movie did so much good.
Help.
They could have stumbled upon another part of the island. They just would have found Wu, and he's like, "How'd you guys get here?" Okay, yeah, I'll call you guys a chopper. By the way, you didn't see a big dinosaur with a sail on its back. Yeah, we kind of lost control of that. That's not going in the new park. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's...
Imagine.
Oh, man, that's so sick. I love it.
It definitely helped ties it all together.
But no, I do kind of like to believe that at this point that there was probably an outpost on. I keep wanting to call it sonar. After
let's just call it sonar. That's good.
Brackeneers, man, fucking-ears.
Oh man,
that was a good podcast. Which one was that?
I don't
we
know.
had one really funny fucking podcast.
I think
that was really good.
I think we cut all the funny parts out. No.
Well, yeah, for a specific reason, but I saved them, so I'll get them.
Oh man,
bonus episode.
I have them somewhere. I mean, I have them in the original Audacity file, so I'll get them out because it was pretty damn special.
It
was a good 20 minutes.
Speaking of laughs, when they're driving in the Jeep, and then the park worker goes, "Well, I've never seen that one before."
Yeah,
that's
funny.
A
first. Yeah, but that's the thing with this movie. That was the kind of humor that worked really well. A lot of it sort of backfired. It didn't fit.
I think
right.
I think all of it worked. I think it was a little bit too much mixed in with the pacing. If we would have had a little bit more serious, a little bit more intimacy, I think it just would have. I think that all of it would have landed a bit more. At times I was like, we didn't need a joke then, because I was feeling really tense, and it made me laugh, and I'm like, well, the humor worked obviously, but I think that it tried to break it up a little too much. That one or two scenes, there should have just been like a moment of like kind of silence, and our characters should have been left broken a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I
think that's where Zara's death would have been
credit.
Perfect. I think that would have been a perfect time to leave our characters very shell-shocked and broken.
But instead, they kiss.
Listen,
Stupid.
I think that would have worked, because we know Colin cut out a lot of the walking bits, and that's where maybe that's where Pratt and Claire had their like banter going on. Maybe that would have built the sexual tension, but I felt nothing with that. It was so cringeworthy. It didn't work.
Oh, the kiss sucked, man. There was the one point in the movie where I was like, no, you cut that out.
Okay.
That was bad.
Oh, by the way,
I get what he went for though.
Owen had one or two really, really, really cheesy one-liners. It's like taking a walk in a park 65 million years ago.
No, that worked. That was funny.
He throws his gun on. No, it works. What I wanted Claire to go, I wanted Claire to roll her eyes. I wanted Claire to be like, really? Like, because like his character, he was totally showing off for her in a lot of ways, and I wanted her to kind of call it out.
Yeah.
Or like, he's like totally cheesy. Like he's being real, but he's also kind of putting on a show. That's kind of him. He's playful. And I almost wanted Claire to call him out on one or two of his one-liners. He does another one at the end. What do we do now?
Man, Claire loses her shit on Owen real quick in that one scene. He was like, "I'm not one of your damn animals." Like, bitch, calm down. Where did that come from?
I thought that was fair. I honestly, I loved her. She was
fucking. She was the best, easily. Yeah, she was. Best
I loved when she tears her, like, kind of rips her clothes, pulls up the sleeves and everything like that. And Owen just goes, "What does that mean? I don't know what I don't know what you're saying." And it was so
yeah, that was funny.
It was so genuine because you really believe that Owen's character was like, "Wait, what are you doing?" Yeah, what are you trying to say? I loved it though. And did you see how many people are super upset that Claire runs in her heels?
Yeah, it was just weird.
I think it works though because she's a character who lives and breathes in her heels. They're a natural extension of her. If she would have chosen to go on a dinosaur adventure, being chased and eaten by dinosaurs, no, she wouldn't have worn them. But the thing is, they were such
that was really stupid.
No, I don't agree. But they were such an extension of her character because she wears them so often that she was able to do anything in them. And I think that was important.
I get the point. It doesn't work. Audience is not going to make that connection though.
But I've seen.
Oh shit, she's running in T-Rex heels. I mean,
I've seen people. I've seen people run in heels before just fine. Like, is it an absolute good idea? No.
In the fucking jungle though. Come on.
I mean, but that's the thing. They're such an extension of her character that I don't think she ever realized that she was wearing heels. In a lot of ways, I think her character was just wearing shoes. And I think that's what it really comes down to. Is her character was just so used to wearing heels. I mean, I think that if her heels started sinking in the mud, and like if she would have got stuck, she would have probably taken them off. I think it's as simple as I think it's as simple as that.
You're the only one who's actually pointed that out.
I think it's as simple as that.
Anyone else got that?
They didn't get in her way, and they're such a natural. She's not one of those people that wear heels for like once an occasion, like for a wedding or something like that. They're such an extension of her character. They never got in her way. She was perfectly fine in them. Once again, she would not have chosen them if she would have known what was going to happen. But I think it just shows you that she's able to perform in her own skin. She is a badass, and she is who she is and who she was. And Claire,
Chris, you
as
just
a
sold me on this. I'm not even kidding. You fucking sold me on it.
And
that makes so much sense.
I would have hated it if like one of her heels broke and then she would have fallen. I would have been like,
and died?
Yeah, or just if they would have played that up. But the thing is, she performed as a badass in heels, and I think it worked. And it had her character. It works for her character because she obviously wears that type. She wears those enough. Of course, she's capable in them. It shows you that who she is and who she was and who she is now. They're both very capable, strong people, and I think that resonated. I think that worked for me. For me, I was never questioning her heels because the movie never made me feel like they were a hindrance for her. If they made me feel like they were a hindrance for her, I would have immediately been like, okay, take them off. But that never happened, and for me, that worked just fine. And again, I think the kiss was a bit cheesy. And I think that it came
built up enough.
It came a little too soon, or something along those lines. And it felt, but
it was in the middle of when people would die.
I got what they're going for though.
It's right after Zara's.
But it didn't work.
But it was right after Zara's
horrific
death. And I think if we would have had a moment of silence for that, and then like something happened, and then they could kind of get a little happier, and then Claire saves Owen. What I really appreciated about that scene, though, is it was the complete opposite of the damsel in distress. It's Owen who's in distress, and it's Claire who comes in like Rambo, like a badass, and saves his life. And it's Owen who then runs up to her and kisses her, which is the exact opposite of the way it is in movies. Usually it's the girl that's in trouble, the guy saves her, and she runs up and kisses the guy. It was the complete opposite, and I think that's what made the scene so charming, though, in a lot of ways, because he was just like, oh my god, you are so amazing. I
wish he said something like that, though. It wasn't just like fuck me and then kissed her or something.
It's not. It didn't. In my opinion, it just didn't to come across like that. I get what they were going for. I understand all that. It just whatever.
To
it didn't
me,
work.
their relationship dynamic worked. They're kind of bitter resentment, but they actually don't resent each other type of thing. It's because they're both such different people, and they sort of dislike themselves for liking the other person so much. That's the feeling I got. They both really liked each other, but they hated themselves for it because they were both so different. Like in Owen, he's like, she's so corporate, and for her, she's like, he's so just such a laid-back asshole in a lot of ways. And they both kind of resented each other because they didn't know each other enough to know how much they had going for themselves. So they only saw it and they're like, why do I like this person so much? And that is the feeling that I got, that they are both they both had some flaws, and they were both so different but so similar because they were both such strong, passionate people. So for me, it worked because I did feel that tension, and I did feel like it was a natural. I felt like the way they were behaving was, to me, that made sense. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's the way that I interact with people, but for me, it worked.
You heard it here first. Chris is Owen Grady.
No, I mean, yeah, actually, I played him in the movie.
There you go.
I'm Chris Pratt's stunt double. You see those abs on him? All CG. He looks... I mean, let's be real. They modeled his body type after mine. Okay, I can't.
Have you guys seen this concept art?
The concept.
Oh my god!
Is there any?
Gorgeous.
I haven't been able to keep up with any of this, guys, because all the news was breaking when I was in Los Angeles. My phone was constantly dying. I was like always lost. I had no idea where I was in the city, and just I was so behind.
Yeah, no, dude, it's been hard to keep up with it all. There's been so much. Really, really cool stuff. The concept art, there's 3 different artists that have released their concept art, and it's all very similar. It's pretty much exactly what we saw in the movie.
Yeah.
Bar a few things. You know, the visitor center is much more prominent and easy to make out in the concept art. Stuff like that, you know, little things, but it's
so fucking beautiful. Oh my god, I can't get over it.
Yeah, it's really, really
It's
nice.
like a painting.
What I can't get over is literally how...
Well, it is a painting.
Yeah, it's like a... Well, it is a painting. No, what I can't get over is how 100% true it is to the way the park looks.
Yeah, it was almost one for one.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, the only thing that changed was some of the store names. Like, there was a... Winston's was actually a real steakhouse for a little bit. And a few of the other places were different. But yeah, it was like one for one. I was really surprised, like, how much it translated. Because usually concept art's kind of vague, which means this was probably some of the later concept art after they had the blueprints down. Like, I'm sure this was not the exploratory concept art. We saw some of that exploratory art last year. When
100%. This is to prove the vision.
Yeah,
that they've
this is
written,
basically like, okay, this is what you guys are going to build. Here you go. Do you like it? Does it seem right? Because you're going to go into building very soon, so sign off on it now.
Yeah. Yeah. A stunned silence at the concept.
Yeah, no, and what I really appreciate is seeing the early Indominus design, how it kind of varied a little bit, and it hits that note of like a beefed up Maziocasaurus, like we talked about in the past. Like where its teeth are a little bit more jutting out, and they're a little bit, sharper and thinner, and it looks a little bit more emaciated and a little bit more mean with like a... it's hard for me to describe, but yeah.
Man, Devin Faraci does not like this movie. I'm looking at his tweets, he fucking hates it.
Yeah, well, he wasn't going to like it from the beginning. He right away said he does not... He said the concept to him has no place in his mind, and that's the thing. If people aren't willing to accept the concept of the movie, then I don't know how they're going to like the movie, but I don't understand why they can't accept the concept. I had a few of my differences with the movie. Basically, what we've talked about, we wish there were some slower, more intimate scenes. Before the podcast started, we all kind of said that we had differences with the CG at times. It didn't quite live up to our expectations, and that there should have been more animatronics. And I think that we all stand pretty... I think we've all said that since the beginning. Some of the scenes in the trailers that I thought looked kind of nice, like the raptors when they were highly detailed, they didn't look as nice in the movie. They didn't look as real, like the way they moved and everything like that. It just didn't quite work for me. Like it didn't look bad. It didn't look bad. It just didn't look...
It wasn't Jurassic Park quality.
I have a certain level of expectation for Jurassic Park, and that level of expectation is basically, holy shit, it should melt minds, and it should basically be next level CG. And I felt like there are only a few parts of the movie that hit that level. I think the Indominus mostly hit that level. But
I mean, as continuing this conversation from something we said before we actually started recording, I've only seen the movie in a small non-chained cinema. It was 3D and HD, but I think a lot of what I saw was really, really great, but it was a much smaller screen than you would see in a normal theatre. So I'm waiting until I see it IMAX to give my full judgment on the VFX, because my main opinion is I really, really liked it. I think a lot of it... There were some flaws.
Some of the movements were too floaty
especially
for me.
With the Raptors as well, but I think a lot of it, the Indominus especially, was just glorious. But I think that whole end sequence, the way I saw it, was gorgeous.
Yeah, I love the Indominus. I thought the Indominus looked fantastic. I thought the Raptors ended up looking really nice when they confronted the Indominus. A lot of the other scenes didn't quite land for me, especially their eyes. Something about the eyes looked very... They looked like they weren't attached to the body. Like, they almost kind of float. Like, they didn't shade in with the rest of the body. Like, the way it was shaded in with, like, the render. It was, like, it stuck out to me. Almost like the eyes were green screened in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and that's only for the Raptors. But for whatever reason, the Raptors did not... Their eyes really kind of didn't work for me. And I felt like sometimes the movie was missing those little animation flourishes with the Raptors that really made them feel alive. Like, I think they had them when they were inside the paddock, when they're all kind of, like, bumping into each other. But after that, I felt like the movie got too big for its own good, and we never got to spend enough time with the animals being animals. Which I guess isn't necessarily a critique of the CG, but I still think it maybe could have been conveyed through these smaller ways in the CG, since we didn't have the time to spend with them in prolonged periods. But I mean, that's like more of like a critique in terms of it didn't weigh down the movie. It was just something I wanted to see. I'm not saying like, oh man, the movie is bad because of this. I just like, oh hey, I wanted to see this as well. Go on.
Here's a fun fact for you right now. It's
Okay.
going to be so funny. Not funny. Fun fact, whatever. Our not commentary. What's this going to be called? Reviews and thoughts, or?
Well, hang on. Just before you say that, Asees, hold on to that thought. Jurassic Park official account just tweeted a video which includes a shot of the Rex from the end of the movie.
That's okay.
And it's the biggest opening of all time. Oh, it's some good scene.
Hold on.
It shows some really good stuff, actually.
I mean, I definitely want to see the Rex.
Oh, it shows the Rex coming through the Spinoskeleton.
Why would they show that?
It looks like...
I knew that they were going to show it after the movie came out, but I thought it would be like a week or two before they showed it.
Man, most of the world's already seen this movie.
I know, but...
Oh, that's such a great bit, though. I know what you mean about the Rex, but I
Okay,
really,
are you seeing
really
it now that
loved
you see it like HD, like on your computer screen, that the design isn't quite there?
I'm not saying the cinema I see it in is not HD. Everything looks fucking great, but I'm just saying because the screen is small. Maybe I'm seeing it slightly different.
Yeah, that looks.
Seeing it, but yes, I know a little bit about what you mean, and I think it has a lot to do with the eyes.
I use this line loosely because I don't mean it literally, but when the Rex breaks through the Spinosaurus, it sort of looks very video gamey in terms of it's very over the top.
Yeah, but yeah.
When it does that roar, it's not...
That actually doesn't look very good on the computer screen. That looked better on the big screen, to be honest with you. When you have it on the computer screen, you can kind of tell how fake it is. It's a little... I feel like in a lot of ways, the animals were a little too anthropomorphized.
Yeah,
what did you guys think of Blue's nod towards Owen at the end of the movie?
Fuck it! I fucking hated it.
Okay, I hated it as well. There were 1,000 ways that they could have conveyed that exact same emotion through a way that we associate with the Raptors. Yeah, I
fucking hated that. That's the worst part of the movie.
Nothing about that movement felt like the animal. Like the raptor always felt like an animal. Even when Owen was taking the harness off of her when she was like thinking of attacking, that worked for me. Everything worked until the end where the raptor did the tiny little...
too many lines.
That there just did not work for me. I think that they could have conveyed that like maybe with a head cock, kind of like... You know how like when an animal turns its head inquisitively? No, I think if she would have turned her head like inquisitively and kind of like barked or something and then like kind
a dog?
Like no, like the way how they do that barking noise.
No. I think it was right the way it was.
Oh, come on.
It was
way,
Jack. It was way too anthropomorphized there. Because we've never seen the raptors nod to each other.
It was too human.
It should.
Well, it didn't. But it didn't really nod.
No, it
though.
did.
It talked.
It didn't.
I heard quite a few people snort when it happened. But I mean, my audience loved the movie. But I heard quite a few people.
No, people laughed. Like, people laughed when. No, people laughed when there was that slow motion.
Oh, yeah,
that's when people laughed because that
didn't work.
That was terrible.
It didn't work.
Well, there's two reasons why that didn't work. Because for one thing, when the raptor got thrown against the wall, when Blue lands, her eyes are wide open. They make a back snapping noise, and her eyes are open. Now, if her eyes would have slipped closed, I would have still assumed she was dead. But then when I see her again, I would have been like, oh, she was unconscious. But the fact that she's lying there, mouth open, eyes open, I'm just like, well, she's dead. And then the fact that you suddenly see her come back without a scratch on her, you're like, what? What? You're like, that was Blue I saw get thrown, right?
That ending was too over the top for me. It honestly didn't work.
See, here's the thing. It works for me. But I think some of the...
Everyone works for everyone except me.
This is where it comes down to me saying that the CG was a little too over the top and that that they could have done a better job with the animations. In terms of, I think Blue could have came in running in, looking a little bit different. Something about the run looked off.
It was cheesy when it's slow motion. It didn't have to be slow motion.
Well, I think what would have worked is if it was really slow motion. If we had a real tight detail shot. I think in that type of slow motion is a little too much of like the and here he is to save the day, or here she is to save the day. It's Blue from the left corner of the ring.
It's too over the top and cheesy.
It was like sort of like Aragorn riding in on his horse in like Lord of the Rings to save the day, which I kind of appreciated, but the animation wasn't there for me. That's what it came down to me, is I feel like IOM or whoever did the CG in that point could have conveyed it a little. I think that's what it comes down to. Execution is key, and I felt like the execution of it was a little cheesy, but the concept wasn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. And I think overall, the CGI for me, the visual effects, yes, some of it was noticeable that it was VFX, but a lot of the time I was completely involved with the movie and
super into the movie. I was just
enough.
so fucking pumped, but like I was still like, man, that end sequence, like there were a few things that they did that I'm like, it was a little too over the top in the way that they visually conveyed it, that I feel like the visuals could have been handled slightly different, and it could have maybe translated a little bit better. But at the same time, I just had the biggest stupid smile on my face, and I had a ton of fun with it.
Yeah.
Guys,
I think overall this movie did a very good thing.
You know what? Let's wrap up. Let's
hold on, wait.
We'll do our final thoughts real quick.
Wait, what were you going to say? See that picture? I want to know.
That Christian sent us?
Oh, where somebody was like on 4chan describing the script?
Yeah.
I'm assuming they just got that from an interview that none of us caught.
That's fucking rough.
I think it's bullshit, man. I think it's bullshit.
I don't know. It's such a weird thing to bullshit, though. Why would somebody come in and bullshit that?
It's 4chan.
Yeah, but
they fucked us up once.
Think of how deep they went with those people who apparently read the script and
but you gotta understand, this guy's not making a thread saying I read the script. Here's the differences. It's just a random one-off comment. I'm assuming that that's in an interview somewhere, because I remember Colin in an interview was talking about killing off Zara and how they had a lot of discussions on how to do it and how they kept changing it because they wanted it to be conveyed right. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that quote came directly from that. Like, the guy makes it sound like he read the script, but I think he's just probably quoting an interview there.
Man, that's dark. She was planning her wedding. That's
you catch that. You catch that in the movie when she's talking about the bachelor party.
I thought she was talking about her friend's bachelor party.
No, yeah, she was planning her wedding. She got killed.
Oh my fuck!
But that doesn't come across very well. Her character was you couldn't even hear her.
I feel like there were
the
scenes cut with her. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was a scene where Claire and Owen and the boys react to her death. I almost feel like there probably was a scene where Zara and that existed, because it was such a horrific death that I feel like. And plus, it seemed like Claire and her were kind of close. So I just think that it probably existed, and they probably cut it for pacing reasons. But I think that it should have probably still remained in the movie, in my opinion. I mean, it's hard for me to say. Maybe they filmed it, and in the script it was perfect. But then, when on film, maybe it just didn't work. So they're like, "Yeah, we're going to cut this because it just doesn't work." Sometimes it's more than just pacing. Sometimes it just emotionally, visually, everything like that just doesn't work right. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll see, I guess, when the Blu-ray comes out. I think overall, I really, really loved the movie. It did an amazing thing for the franchise, and I'm so happy that everybody else loves the movie. It's not just, it's another sequel to Jurassic Park. People are like, have you seen Jurassic World? And most people are like, fuck yeah, I loved it. So I'm pleased for that. I'm happy. And as for the movie itself, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I really, really enjoyed it for what it was, and it's a really strong movie. It did a very good thing, and it really pushed this franchise into a new direction that it really needed to go in. So I really like the movie. I have no idea what I would give it out of 10. Probably an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Holy shit, that's high.
Because obviously, because there are flaws, but it's so, I love the franchise so much. It's obviously not going to be a low number than I give it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's
overall,
a very different movie than what I expected, but it was incredibly heartfelt, charming, clever, smart. It by clever and smart, it conveyed that in different ways than the way you associate with Jurassic Park. We didn't get to spend that time with the characters sitting down and discussing the morality of the park like we had in the scene in Jurassic Park, where you have them all sitting around the dinner table talking. And it was a bummer not having a scene like that. But I still felt the movie was incredible. I loved it. It was a ton of fun, And I honestly just it was so heartfelt, and there was so much passion poured into it, and it hit so many notes the right way, and it had so many cool little scenes, like the Dilophosaurus cameo, which we haven't talked about. And I thought that was just really awesome the way they did that.
Very good way to include the Dilophosaurus. If you're not
I was very I wanted Dilophosaurus in the movie, absolutely. But that scene was great.
It was clutch.
It was great. And I just have really no other way to react to that other than I had a big smile on my face, and it was actually a really good way to use the holograms.
Yeah.
It was, and one more point. Everyone was standing around the holograms. It was an amazing part. Bryce, to show her character, she would always.
Yeah, it was like she knew,
It was just these things are just assets. They're just something we own. It was a nice little, I wouldn't say subtle, but it was a nice way to show that.
But she was, and you think that she's one way, but obviously she's brought to tears when that Apatosaurus is dying. And that scene... That scene was so intimate. I think that might have been my favorite scene. Although my favorite scene wasn't the climax, although I had a ton of fun with the climax. My favorite scenes were basically the Indominus takes out the ACU team, they discover the Apatosaurus, and then the Raptors take out the ACU team.
Yeah, those were
my favorite scenes of the film. And then... honestly, Simon Masrani stole the show. The scenes that he was in...
his scene in the helicopter.
You can't.
His scene in the helicopter, where he asked Claire...
How are my animals?
How's the park? How are the animals?
No, guys, Indian accents. I want to hear your Indian accents. Let's go. Jack and Chris, go. Do it.
Jack, come on.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying to think of his lines because I don't practice Indian accents.
Well, you guys essentially slaved our people for like a decade, so not a decade, 100 years. You guys can do it.
All right, we're gonna go there.
This is getting dark.
I'm kidding.
Give me some nuts now.
Asees has this built up,
yeah, right.
Everybody, and just tweet him on map_index, and you'll figure it all out from there.
Shit. You know what? I'll give my thoughts and we'll wrap this bitch up.
Because
it's getting longer than the actual movie. Actually, it is longer than the movie. Holy shit. Anyways, yeah, really good movie. A few things didn't work for me. Some characters weren't handled properly, I don't think. Raptors weren't as scary as I'd like. But overall, it blew my fucking mind. I started crying first 10 minutes. It was more than I expected, more than I wanted. So I'm fucking happy as shit. Can't wait to see where it goes next.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely with you there.
This has been... I've run this site since 2008, and obviously been scouring the net long before that. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who stuck with us. It's a website, but everybody who followed the site for news, everybody who used our forums, everybody who tweeted and Facebooked us, and everybody who listened to the podcast, especially over the last couple of years. I really want to thank you for following the journey with us. And I mean, it's nowhere near over. It's only just beginning. Our website's going to expand into something
special,
something special, and we're happy. We want you all to be a part of it. So just stay tuned, and there's going to be a heap ton of podcasts coming out as well.
And I just really want to say, everyone's really made this experience incredibly special. The passion to share with all these other fans out there on Twitter and in our comments and on Facebook and everything else. It just really, I cannot tell you how special it's been and how much fun it's been in talking about the movie and getting news sent to us and just chatting on Twitter. And oh my god, I want to see the movie with all of you. There are so many, if you're ever around Pittsburgh, please let me know. But all of us somehow need to all get in a room together and see this movie and talk Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. And and there's definitely going to be opportunities in the future. So let's keep this momentum going. Let's keep building this fan base, and let's really turn it into something special, unified, and strong.
Yep. And stay tuned to the site, because that's something we're gonna really look into. We have some interesting things coming for you guys. One thing that we are sharing in this podcast is we have an interview with Colby Boothman, who is the, what would you call it, Owen's, what would you call it, the almost like an intern, intern
he's the one who
raptor
gets
trainer.
pulled into the raptor paddock.
Yeah, we had an interview with him, so I mean, I'll play that now. Hey guys, Jack here. Unfortunately, the software that I was using to record the Skype conversation that we had with Colby, somewhere along the line screwed up, leaving me with the intro of the podcast of me and Asees connecting with Colby, and then his final 5 minutes where we kind of round up. It's missing the most important bit of the interview, the funnest bit where Colby told us some really, really cool stories, and I haven't been able to salvage it. So unfortunately, we've only got the last 5 minutes for you. But if you look on our website, the article that's linked in the description of this podcast, you'll find a bit of a write up about what Colby spoke about, some of the stuff that didn't end up recording. So you can read some of his answers there. So really apologies about that. It sucks so much, but yeah, here it is. Here's the interview.
Fun.
Yeah, and in such a memorable scene as well.
Oh yeah, I love both the scenes.
Yeah.
Fall into the raptor paddock, and then at the very end, releasing the raptors.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Oh, yeah. What has to go through my mind to release these raptors out into the wild?
It goes against everything you know.
Yeah, and the raptors, they're not friendliest of animals. They came after me, and here I am unleashing them onto the world.
Yeah, onto this unbeknownst tourists. Brilliant. Well, I mean, unless there's anything else you'd like to say from the set of Jurassic World, any other stories you've got, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, actually, there's one thing that I don't know if too many people have seen it, but if you look in right before my scene, you'll see up on the balcony is Jack Horner, who's a paleontologist for all the films. He has a little cameo in the film, and we actually got to be around him for a good week on set. And it's hot in Louisiana, and we spent a lot of time in our cooling tent on set and get away from the heat and the sun. And to be able to work and learn from Jack Horner has been unbelievable. He's the paleontologist for the films. A lot of Jurassic Park is actually based on his work and his paleontology. And he's one of the most fascinating people I've had the pleasure of knowing. I was just with him at the Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana, for a special screening. And he's just one of the nicest people. And one of my best experiences working on Jurassic World is just the time that we spent sitting in the cooling tent. It was me, Jack Horner, Chris, Vincent, Omar, and we would just spend hours at a time listening and learning from Jack. He's one of the most fascinating, knowledgeable, smart people. And I think all of us that had the pleasure of working with him really appreciate the work that he's done. There would be no Jurassic Park without Jack Horner. And it's just learning from him was one of the best experiences working on Jurassic World.
That's great. I think he's one of the only returning crew members that's been on every single film as well. Because people like Phil Tippett was only on the first Jurassic, missed out on Lost World and JP3. But yeah, I think Jack Horner's been involved from the very beginning. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, if anybody gets the chance, definitely go out to the Museum of the Rockies. I was just there a few days ago with it was me, Jack Horner, Frank Marshall, and Kathleen Kennedy, and I got to see the museum for the first time, and it's fascinating. I mean, it's the largest collection of dinosaur bones in the world, and they just have everything you can imagine. We were in the research facility. Jack was given a private tour, and there's everything you can imagine. I mean, he just opens up a drawer and there's a velociraptor,
Wow. Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. In fact, one of the more prominent members of the what would you call it, the Jurassic fandom, went to that screening at the Museum of the Rockies, and got to speak with Frank Marsh and everything. It's amazing that they did that. Such a perfect environment for a Jurassic film.
Yeah, it was, and it was for a good cause, helped raise money for the museum. They auctioned off a few signed posters and a couple director chairs with the Jurassic World logo on it.
Oh, wow.
And so it was great that there were all these fans out there, and they got to do that for the museum, but it was also to help benefit the museum, and that's something that is really great. And I recommend anybody who's able to get out to Bozeman and go to the Museum of the Rockies to do it, because it's an incredible place.
Well, thanks. It's been a pleasure doing this. Thank you again. We can't thank you enough. Congratulations on the movie. It's doing well. It's well earned, obviously. And thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Colby, for coming on. Obviously, I'll let Brian know everything when it's going to go live. But yeah, thank you for coming. It's been amazing to speak with you, and really great to hear your stories. I really can't wait for the Blu-ray now. You've sold it to me even more.
Yeah, how do you think I feel? I'm waiting. I've been waiting for this forever.
Yeah,
it's great, and thanks for all the hard work you do. It's the fans that we do all of this for, and there's such a big fan base, and anything we can do to make the fan experience that much better is something that all of us want. That's what this is about, is creating something that people can enjoy, and it's life's about having a great time, and Jurassic Park is one of those few films that everybody sees and loves. So everybody really does it for the fans, and we appreciate all the work that everybody on the fan base does. It's a lot of fun. It's an honor to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, if you ever want to come on to the podcast again, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Colby. It's great to speak with you.
And how did you like the interview? I hope it was great. I'm not sure if I was there for it or not yet.
Yeah. But we're going to have much more where that came from, so I really hope, and thanks a lot to Colby and his agent for sorting this out and coming onto the podcast. It was nice to have a little interview with him, and listen to his experiences filming Jurassic World. So yeah, stay tuned. There will be more.
Maybe.
And
go watch Jurassic World 7 more times this upcoming weekend, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get it to 1 billion. Let's make it a movie.
It's definitely going to get to 1 billion. Let's just make it break records while going
Fastest.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's exactly what I want. But it's been a fun podcast, guys. It's been a long podcast.
To be honest, we could have there's so much that we haven't talked about. We're probably going to have what were your thoughts?
Two-parter.
What were your thoughts on Jurassic World Continued podcast? Which I think is
so much to do. So much to do.
There are, but this one's been fun, and much more in the future. Because, like you said, I could go on. We could all go on. 2.5 hours. That's a long pod. So thank you for listening, and
peace out.